What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories. 5WR, 68, Yagyu Tsuki is her ex-boyfriend? Sasuke vs Akato Kabuto. I didn't expect Orochimaru to want to destroy the village. It's a mistake for me as a Hokage. I plan to retire after solving this problem. Sarutobi Hiruzen took a deep puff of cigarette, exhaled a pale smoke, looked at the photos of the past Hokage hanging on the wall, and stared at the photo of the first Hokage with a thoughtful look. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at Yagyu Tsuki, who was lazily leaning on the sofa, and said in a serious and low voice, "Yagyu Tsuki, become the 5th Hokage. You have the strength to rival the first generation. Use this power to become the new pillar of the village." Although Yagyu Tsuki has a lot of personality problems and is simply a serious problem child, he has the top power that can rival the first Hokage anyway, and can perfectly protect the village with this power. Sarutobi Hiruzen sighed secretly in his heart. I'm old. After solving the problem of Orochimaru, he can retire peacefully. Before retiring, he must decide on a new Hokage to prevent Danzo from secretly controlling the entire village. Although Danzo has always wanted to be Hokage, Danzo is more suitable to be the root of the village and solve those things that Hokage can't do. One light and one dark, only then can they be the strongest. Yagyu sipped the lollipop in his mouth and said in a casual tone, "Hokage? It sounds interesting. After I become Hokage, I will lay off all the stinky men and let the female ninjas wear maid costumes to work. Don't be silly." Sarutobi Hiruzen's face turned black. It's meaningless to wear maid outfits. Let's bring some black bunny girls. I'm just kidding. Lu Shungyue said lightly, anyway, you can rest assured and die. I have arranged everything later. I have no interest in being a Hokage. I would have become a Hokage before, and now I have to rely on sign and rewards. Although becoming a Hokage may be fun, it will delay the ability to get sign and rewards. If you want to talk about Hokage, Sister Juru is very suitable. After the 3rd generation old dog died in the battle, Tsunade was captured as the 5th Hokage, and Tsunade was a member of my harem. After rounding up, the whole village is still mine. Perfect. I still have things to do, you just wait for death slowly, stinky old 03. After saying that, Lu Shungyue ignored Sarutobi Hiruzen with a dark face, grabbed a handful of snacks for guests, and then got up, opened the door and left the office. Tsunade crossed her arms and leaned against the wall, looking coldly at Yagyu Tsuki, who walked out of the office, and asked, "Damn white hair, what are you going to do?" Yagyu Tsuki asked back, "Dog bites dog, what will you do?" Tsunade was silent. She had decided to stay away from the war a long time ago and never thought about participating in the disputes between villages again. But the previous decision was the previous decision, and now the matter is in front of her. Help teacher Sarutobi to solve Orochimaru together. Or watch the show like Yagyu Tsuki. How could she watch the show? Even if she decided to stay away from the war dispute, she was still a ninja of this village, a legendary Sannin respected by the ninjas in the village. Yagyu Tsuki gently pinched Tsunade's face and smiled lightly. Can't decide? Then I will help you make the decision and do what a medical ninja should do. Tsunade felt the touch of her face being pinched. Her fair and delicate face turned slightly red. She opened Yagyu Tsuki's hand unhappily, and said coldly, "Don't touch me." "Pinch my face? That white-haired guy is really disrespectful. And why should that white-haired guy help me make a decision? Who do you think you are, just a white-haired guy? But, is this what a medical ninja should do? Let's do it." After thinking it through, Tsunade felt much better. Although the white-haired guy was a damned man, he said that there was no problem this time. Just do what a medical ninja should do, and there was no need to participate in the master-disciple feud between Sarutobi and Orochimaru. There's no need to think about so many things, just do what you want. Yagyu Tsuki slapped Tsunade's face, and then pinched it hard. Tsunade, who was thinking seriously, felt the pain of the drum being squeezed hard. Her tall and proud body trembled slightly, her expression gradually became cold and scary, and her eyes showed shame and anger. She punched Yagyu Tsuki in the face. "Since you are looking for death, I will fulfill your wish now. I have something else to do. See you later." Yagyu Tsuki disappeared in an instant. He was going to the Chunin exam battle site and wait for the 3 members of Team 7 to help him show off. Boom boom boom. Because Yagyu Tsuki disappeared directly out of thin air, Tsunade's white fist hit the wall hard. The arm that seemed slender and weak without any signs of training burst out with a strong force. The whole Hokage building was shaking violently, and the wall was directly blown into countless powder blocks. After the wall collapsed, the scene of the office was revealed. At this time, Sarutobi Hiruzen was holding a cigarette with a confused face, looking at Tsunade with a red face and a cold and scary expression. Alas! Kato Shizune sighed. Every time Tsunade-sama gets angry, he will cause trouble. After each trouble, he has to pay a lot of money. Moreover, he always loses money in gambling and owes a lot of debts. Alas! Life is so hard, but there is one thing to be happy about. That is, judging from Yagyu Tsuki's attitude, the reunion that Tsunade-sama hopes for is just around the corner. According to his observations in the past few days, Tsunade-sama currently has two rivals in love. One is Yagyu Tsuki's childhood sweetheart Yuhi Kurenai, and the other is Hyuga Hinata, who admires Yagyu Tsuki very much. As for rivals in love, Yuhi Kurenai is very threatening and can be regarded as Tsunade-sama's most powerful rival at present. As for Hyuga Hinata, although Yagyu Tsuki seems to dote on Hyuga Hinata, Hinata is still a child anyway, and there is no need to treat a child as a love rival, and how could Yagyu Tsuki attack a little girl? So Hinata is a non-threatening little love rival, and what Tsunade-sama should pay attention to now is Yuhi Kurenai. Of course. There may be women he has never seen, after all, he has not seen many women during this period, but for now, as long as he is careful and vigilant against Yuhi Kurenai, Natsu-sama will definitely be able to get back together as he wishes. We will win. Tsunade will definitely win. Kato Shizune suggested. Tsunade-sama, let's go to the Chunin exam venue. Yagyu Tsuki should go there to watch the game of Team 7. We will definitely win, but Tsunade-sama is too strong-willed, always facing Yagyu Tsuki with a cold attitude. If his attitude could be better, they might have got back together long ago. Tsunade-sama is too arrogant, and he obviously cares about Yagyu Tsuki very much, but he always treats her with a cold attitude. Alas. I can't say anything yet. I get annoyed when I see that dead white-haired guy. Why do you go there to find him? Tsunade looked at Shizune strangely. She always felt that Shizune's words were strange recently, and it felt like he was intentionally or unintentionally trying to match her up with that dead white-haired guy Lu Shungyue. Kato Shizune couldn't help but dissuaded her sullenly. Tsunade-sama, if you are angry, you might be beaten by Yuhi Kurenai. She knew that Tsunade was very lonely every day, so she hoped that Tsunade could be saved by the person she liked and have a happy relationship like a normal woman. Tell me, what are you thinking about? Tsunade said. This time, I must ask clearly what Shizune was thinking about during this period of time, and why he was strangely trying to match me up with the dead white-haired guy every day. Did Shizune mean that since those things happened, the dead white-haired man should be held completely responsible? Haven't you noticed? Yuhi Kurenai and Hyuga Hinata also like Yagyu Tsuki. If you continue like this, your ex-boyfriend will probably be snatched away by someone else. Kato Shizune covered her mouth with her hand and whispered the latest analysis in Tsunade's ear. After listening to Shizune's long analysis, Tsunade was silent. After a while, the corners of her mouth twitched slightly, and she felt speechless. Ex-boyfriend? I went back to the village specifically to find Yagyu Tsuki to reunite? Hyuga Hinata is a child, there is no need to care. Yuhi Kurenai is the most powerful rival? It is likely that there will be other rivals? No wonder. No wonder Shizune has been acting strange recently. There are serious misunderstandings in relationships. She even misunderstood that I was looking for Yagyu Tsuki in order to get back together with her. She even misunderstood that I had dated Yagyu Tsuki and was then ruthlessly dumped by her. Stupid, you. Tsunade was about to accuse Shizune, but stopped talking. Wait a minute. Since Shizune was misunderstanding, and I was looking for the dead white-haired man for the purpose of getting back together, does that mean Shizune didn't find out about what happened that night? If I deny that I didn't date Yagyu Tsuki, how can I explain that I was looking for Yagyu Tsuki all over the world? After I found Yagyu Tsuki, I was even kissed by Yagyu Tsuki in public. How can I explain these things? Should I tell Shizune the truth? How is that possible? It would be embarrassing to tell this to others. I am Tsunade, the strongest medical ninja in the ninja world, one of the legendary Sannin, and I was held down by Yagyu Tsuki and forced to do those things. How can I have the nerve to say such things? If I tell others, what will Shizune think of me? But it is also annoying to be misunderstood like this. Why was I dumped by the dead white-haired guy? It is embarrassing to tell the truth, and it is also annoying to be misunderstood. What to do? Shizune, we are. Tsunade walked away quickly. Whatever. Misunderstandings are misunderstandings, it is better than knowing the truth. Where are we going? Kato Shizune chased Tsunade. Tsunade said weakly, Chunin exam venue. Kato Shizune shook his fist and encouraged, come on, Suisho Tianxia. Tsunade was speechless. At this time, in the Hokage's office. Ahem cough cough. Sarutobi Hiruzen took a deep puff of cigarette and coughed a few times because of the smoke. He had just overheard what Shizune said. Although Shizune deliberately lowered his voice, he could still hear everything clearly. Don't look at his age, but he is at least a real cage-level strongman. I was wondering why Tsunade suddenly returned to the village. At first, I thought that Tsunade discovered Orochimaru's plan and returned to the village to stop the feud between the master and the apprentice. But I never expected. Tsunade returned to the village to reunite with Yagyu Yu. When did these two people start dating? And Yagyu Yu also dumped Tsunade. With Yagyu Yu's personality, it makes sense. Sarutobi Hiruzen overheard it, and the Anbu hiding in the dark also heard it. Everyone who overheard it felt unbelievable, because Yagyu Yu was willful and reckless, and Tsunade has a hot temper. Have they ever dated before? Oh my god. When they were dating, they probably cursed at each other and fought each other every day, right? Outrageous. It's really outrageous, but considering Yagyu Tsuki's personality, it seems reasonable that she dumped Tsunade. Time passed. The moon was bright in the sky and the stars were twinkling. At the Chunin selection examination venue, the teams that successfully walked out of the Death Forest and had the Earth Coiling Axis stood in a neat and orderly manner on the battlefield. There were only 16 candidates present. There were 16 teams and 48 people in the candidates who successfully participated in the second exam, but only 6 teams were able to gather the scrolls and leave the Death Forest. Although there were 6 teams, there were only 16 people left. Because there was only one person left in one team, and the other 2 did not leave the Death Forest alive, and that team was the Jōnin team of the Sound Village. Their team initially planned to snatch the scroll of Team 7, and then a ninja in the team with Sasuke was killed on the spot, and the remaining 2 retreated and encountered Gaara and others. In the end, only one person left the Death Forest alive. The Jōnin standing on the battlefield were Team 3 where Hyuga Neji was, Team 7 where Uzumaki Naruto was, Team 8 where Hyuga Hinata was, and Team 10 where Nara Shikamaru was. There was also the Sand Shinobi team led by Gaara, and the Sound Shinobi team with only one person left, the Red Copper Armor. A total of 16 people. This time, the Sound Village sent 2 Jōnin teams, but one of them besieged Team 7 at the beginning, and was defeated by the 3 people of Team 7. In other words, Team 7 solved 4 Jōnins from the Sound Village in the Death Forest. Team 7 originally planned to take the Earth Coiling Axis that Yagyu Tsuki cheated and directly arrive at the venue of the third exam at full speed, but they didn't expect that the team of Yin Ninken would go straight to their Team 7. Killing is the way to maintain balance. This is the so-called friendship in the ninja world, but this habit has been abandoned by us. Sarutobi Hiruzen smoked a cigarette and looked at the group of lower ninja teams with a gentle smile. Between villages, young ninjas become qualified ninjas through hard work and growth, through mutual understanding, and carry the name of the village to build a bridge called hope. This is the meaning of the Chunin selection exam. The will of fire is endless. Sarutobi Hiruzen exhaled a pale smoke and said in a low voice, "In the name of the third Hokage, I declare that the third exam will start now." After that, Sarutobi walked to the top viewing seat and sat down next to the fourth Kazekage. Moonlight Gale was weak, with dark circles under his eyes, and he coughed. Those whose names are called will stay, and the rest of the candidates will go to the spectator seats to wait. As soon as he said this, the screen above began to draw the names of the candidates, and the names of the candidates flashed on the screen one by one, and finally stopped at Uchiha Sasuke vs. Akato Armor. Moonlight Gale coughed and announced, "Uchiha Sasuke, Akato Armor, you two will stay, and the rest, cough cough cough, the rest will go to the spectator seats." Soon, a group of candidates walked to the second floor spectator seats. Only Sasuke and Akato Armor were left in the huge battlefield. Open black lens bracket 68 close black lens bracket instantly defeat the opponent with Sasuke's Rasengan. Time passed slowly, and the Jōnins on duty at the scene, from watching casually at the beginning, gradually became serious about watching the battle, and the fourth Kazekage, who was sitting at the highest point, looked at Uchiha Sasuke thoughtfully. Uchiha. The fourth Kazecage's eyes showed greed, and his mind recalled the scene of being instantly killed by Uchiha Itachi. On the surface, he was the fourth Kazekage of Sand Shinobi Village, but in fact he was Orochimaru, one of the legendary Sannin. Orochimaru, disguised as the fourth Kazekage, glanced at Yagyu Tsuki on the second floor viewing platform in the distance, licked his lips, and squinted his eyes to look at Yagyu Tsuki. Although Uchiha's power is very attractive, he would rather get Yagyu Tsuki's power. If he can take over Yagyu Tsuki's body and have the power of the first generation, then he can use Yagyu Tsuki's power to obtain those mysterious secret techniques used by the ninja world. But it's a pity. Yagyu Tsuki is too strong, and he cannot get Yagyu Tsuki for the time being. Yagyu Tsuki has absolute violence that can defeat all plans. Sarutobi Hiruzen smoked a cigarette, glanced at the fourth Kazekage beside him, and said with a smile, "Does the Kazekage care about Uchiha Sasuke?" "The Kazekage gave me a very familiar feeling. It should be Orochimaru in disguise." But since Orochimaru can disguise as the Kazekage, it means that the Kazekage is dead now, because Orochimaru actually has the strength to deal with the Kazekage. Orochimaru seems to be stronger than before. Orochimaru, who disguised as the Kazekage, said in a low voice, "Everyone cares about geniuses, right? It stands to reason that his plan this time is perfect and should be able to completely destroy Konoha. Sarutobi Hiruzen is old and no longer has the former glory. At present, the only one worth caring about in the whole village is Yagyu Tsuki. But Yagyu Tsuki will definitely not care about the life and death of the third generation, and may even watch the show from the side. But the problem is, Orochimaru, disguised as the Kazekage, glanced at Tsunade on the second floor viewing platform, where Tsunade was chatting with Shizune. Tsunade. Why did Tsunade return to the village? Tsunade is very strong, but it doesn't matter, because he knows Tsunade's fatal weakness. Hemophobia. Teacher Sarutobi, today is your death. Sarutobi Hiruzen smiled and didn't continue talking. At this time, on the second floor viewing platform, Yagyu, the red copper armor seems to have a very strange ability. Is Sasuke okay? Yuhi Kurenai looked at the battlefield below. At this time, Sasuke was being hugged by the red copper armor, and the red copper armor seemed to be absorbing Sasuke's chakra. Excessive consumption of chakra will kill you. You'd better persuade Sasuke to admit defeat. Yui Honryo frowned slightly, staring at the painful Uchiha Sasuke. Sasuke had obviously absorbed a lot of chakra. If this continued, someone might die. Sister Honghong, I'll help you improve your eyesight when I have time. Sometimes giving up is more terrible than death. Watch carefully, you will win. Yagyu Tsuki sipped her lollipop and looked at the situation of the battlefield below. Uchiha Brat is deliberately being wild. Who did he learn to be so wild? From me? He didn't learn to be handsome as a teacher, but learned to be wild as a teacher first. Brat. He could see that Uchiha Sasuke was deliberately caught, and even deliberately absorbed chakra, in order to give Akiden Kamo the illusion of victory. Lord Tsunade, go and chat with Yagyu Tsuki. You can use the analysis of the battle situation as a cover, and take this opportunity to restore your relationship with Yagyu Tsuki. Kato Shizune gently pulled Tsunade's clothes, covered his mouth with his hand, and whispered in Tsunade's ear, while stealing a glance at Yagyu Tsuki and Yuhi Kurenai in the distance. What is Tsunade doing? If this continues, Yuhi Kurenai will take the lead. Tsunade's mouth twitched slightly. So annoying. Let me restore my relationship with Yagyu Tsuki. Restore a fart. There was no relationship from the beginning. But I can't tell Shizune too much. Saying too much will easily expose what happened that night. I'm so annoyed. At this time, the battlefield below. Stinky boy, you'll be dead if I catch you. My ability is to absorb chakra. The red copper armor wrapped his hands around Sasuke like a snake, and his low and hoarse voice gave people a sense of pride. He can absorb other people's chakra by touching them. Although it takes a lot of time to absorb a large amount of chakra, the ability to absorb chakra is a fatal existence for ninjas. Lord Orochimaru, watch me carefully. You were arrogant in the Forest of Death, weren't you? Why are you like a stray dog now? Of course, what can a student of Yagyu Tsukushi have? Akiden Armor sneered. He thought he was determined to win now, because as long as he was touched, Sasuke would be caught. What can a waste like you know about Yagyu teacher? Uchiha Sasuke's eyes condensed and turned into Scarlet Two-Tomo Sharingan. Suddenly, Akiden Armor's whole body became stiff and slowly loosened the arm that was wrapped around Sasuke. Backquote in front of Uchiha's power, any ability of yours is meaningless. That's it, waste. Uchiha Sasuke sneered. He held the wrist of his left hand with his right hand, and light blue chakra emerged from his palm. The chakra rotated like a small tornado, and finally formed a rapidly rotating Rasengan. Ong. As the Rasengan rotated, a fierce gust of wind was generated, blowing away the dust on the ground around Uchiha Sasuke. He held Rasengan slammed into Akiden Kai's abdomen. Rasengan. Boom. Akiden Kai was blasted away by Rasengan, his body spinning like a spinning top, and then he slammed into the wall heavily, spurting out a mouthful of scarlet blood. His head tilted and he fainted. All his internal organs were destroyed, and several ribs were broken. This one hit, on the verge of death. Rasengan. Everyone present had a change of expression, even the leading Jōnin, all showed an unbelievable expression. Wang Zhao. Staring at Uchiha Sasuke on the battlefield. Rasengan. The ultimate delusion of chakra form change. The orphan of the Uchiha clan could actually master the Rasengan developed by the genius ninja 4th Hokage? You have to know that many Jōnin can't master the Rasengan, and a mere genin who is taking the Chunin exam can actually master the Rasengan level of ninjutsu. How could Sasuke know Rasengan training method? Could it be Yagyu Tsuki? Everyone in the audience looked at Yagyu Tsuki with a serious expression. They heard that Team 7 was doing nothing at first and only did one C-level mission after becoming genin. But they never expected it. Yagyu Tsuki did not lead Team 7 to do nothing, but was still doing super powerful training. But the question is, how did Yagyu Tsuki teach genin to use Rasengan in such a short time? Outrageous. It's a bit outrageous. Open black lens bracket. 69 close black lens bracket. Is Yagyu Tsuki so good at teaching people? Rasengan is a very dangerous ninjutsu. You actually gave it to a genin. You are just fooling around. Sarutobi Hiruzen, who was sitting on the high ground, frowned and looked at Yagyu Tsuki below. Uchiha Sasuke is still a young genin. He has mastered the difficult Rasengan at a young age. After surpassing his peers, he is likely to be arrogant and go downhill. When a young child has strong strength, it may have a counterproductive effect. Yagyu Tsuki's arrogant and willful personality is a good example. It's like a baby holding a knife. Yagyu Tsuki felt the shocked gazes of the crowd, suppressed the complacency in his heart, glanced at Sarutobi Hiruzen above, and said in a proud tone, "Stinky old man, who do you think you are talking to? No one can stop the dreams of young people. You are an old stubborn man who is behind the times. Danger? It's just a broken Rasengan, but you are still in danger? It's really funny. Basic Rasengan is such a crappy thing, I use it to make cakes at home." Nonsense. Sarutobi Hiruzen glared at Yagyu Tsuki, but didn't say anything more. After all, there were many ninjas from the village and other villages watching, and Yagyu Tsuki didn't have the face of the third Hokage. Sarutobi Asuma lit a cigarette, walked to Yagyu Tsuki and asked curiously, "Sasuke can actually master Rasengan, how did you teach him to learn the form change?" Outrageous. It can actually let a mere genin learn the extremely difficult unsealed ninjutsu Rasengan. You know, Rasengan is the ultimate form change, and a mere genin who just graduated not long ago can actually master Rasengan in a short time. It doesn't need to be thought about to know that it must be Yagyu Tsuki's good teaching. But the problem is, how can a genin who just left the ninja school, learn the chakra form change in a short time? It took me a year and 5 months to learn the chakra form change. Although no one taught me at that time, I had to rely on myself to slowly explore, but it took at least a year and a half. Yagyu Tsuki raised 3 fingers and smiled faintly. Wrong, it was them. As for how they taught, it's hard to say. If you didn't teach clearly, it only means that you didn't work hard enough. Teaching doesn't have much meaning, it's just to point people in the direction. The fact that Team 7 was able to master the Rasengan in a short time can only be said to be 50% due to talent, 30% due to plugins, and 20% due to their own education. Uchiha brats relied on talent and plugins, and used Sharingan to understand the theory of Rasengan, so they could slap the Rasengan in a short time. And Nine Tails brats relied on plugins, bursting out Nine Tails chakra to form a demon fox coat, and then directly learned the Rasengan on the spot. As for Haruno Sakura, this kid relies on his talent, and has a very perfect talent for controlling chakra. Everyone around was stunned, and looked at Uzumaki Naruto and Haruno Sakura in the distance. When Yagyu Tsuki said, did she mean that all the members of Team 7 could use Rasengan? How is that possible? It is normal that he could teach Uchiha Rasengan, after all. Sasuke is one of the most talented among the genin of this class, and it is understandable that he could teach Haruno Sakura, because Haruno Sakura is a top student in the ninja school. But Uzumaki Naruto is a loser who can't even use chakra properly. When he graduated from the ninja school, he didn't even understand the 3-body technique. How could this talent master the Rasengan, which is extremely difficult to learn, in a short period of time? Everyone around thought that among the Yagyu Tsuki was talking about, there must be no Uzumaki Naruto, the loser. Kurenai Yuhi couldn't believe it, and asked in confusion, does Team 7 know Rasengan? Sasuke and little Sakura are fine, but Uzumaki Naruto is a well-known loser, with a poor talent in controlling chakra, and even the worst student in the ninja school. So, Yagyu Tsuki can teach Uzumaki Naruto Rasengan? It's a bit unbelievable. Although Yagyu Tsuki is the best ninja, it is Yagyu Tsuki's own talent after all. Even if he is a perfect teacher, he can't teach 10 students with poor talents. But the problem is that Lu Shunyue said it herself, so no matter how unbelievable it is, it should be true. No need to doubt it, you will see it later. Lu Shunyue put his arm around Shi Rihong's shoulders and deliberately said in a very sexy tone, you can also worship me as your master. I can be absent from Sister Honghong and teach you some very special skills in the early morning. Shi Rihong raised her face and looked at Lu Shunyue with a smile, and said in a joking tone, okay, if you can be loyal, I can go with you tonight. Being loyal to one person is being loyal to countless people is also being loyal. Which kind of loyalty are you talking about? Lu Shengyu touched Shi Rihong's drum and squeezed it hard. What do you think? Shi Rihong felt the pain of the drum, her fair and delicate face turned slightly red, and she hit Lu Shengyu's hand unhappily. Yagyu Tsuki teased, I am very dedicated to opening a harem. I can appoint a harem manager for you, but you have to keep it secret from others. Who cares? Yuhi Kurenai gave Yagyu Tsuki a look. Harem? That's a nice thought. As for the women Yagyu Tsuki is currently in contact with, first of all, Lord Tsunade's attitude is so cold, and it seems that he even has a grudge against Yagyu Tsuki, and Hinata is still a little girl who is not really shy. In this situation, you still want to open a harem? Yagyu Tsuki shrugged and said nothing more. Sarutobi Asuma looked at Yagyu Tsuki and Yuhi Kurenai who were joking and flirting in front of him. His hand holding the cigarette trembled, and he took a deep puff of the cigarette and exhaled a pale smoke. Sarutobi Asuma was very upset. He found that Yagyu Tsuki and Yuhi Kurenai were not paying attention to him, so he turned around and walked towards Shikamaru and others. Alas! It's over. The battle site at this time. After reacting, Moonlight Gale raised his hand and coughed, announcing, ahem. The winner is Uchiha Sasuke. Next game, Tenten vs Tamari. Moonlight Gale glanced at the big screen. Uchiha Sasuke put his hands in his pockets, glanced at the unconscious Akiden Kai with a cold and arrogant look, and sneered, with your ability, how can you defeat the power that Mr. Yagyu taught me? Humph, it's so boring. Uchiha Sasuke snorted coldly, turned around and walked slowly down the stairs to the second floor. It can actually solve the enemy with one blow, is Rasengan so strong? When performing the mission in the Land of Waves before, Uzumaki Naruto used Rasengan to attack Konan, and was easily slapped away by Konan. Then all the members of Team 7 used Rasengan, but they couldn't scratch the skin on the palm of Teacher Yagyu. After that, all the members of Team 7 used Rasengan, even if they attacked head-on and attacked without any defense, they couldn't cause any injury to Tsunade. So when Uchiha Sasuke used Rasengan to instantly kill the red copper armor just now, not to mention the audience present, even he himself was stunned. Because in his impression, Rasengan is not that strong. It can only be said that Team 7 had played all high-end games before. Whether it was Konan or Tsunade, these two women were all strong cage level, and they were among the strongest in the entire ninja world. Tianshan and Temari and Uchiha walked towards the venue. Tenten had a confident expression on her face, and Temari also had a confident expression on her face. Both of them were very confident in their own strength. Yagyu Tsuki touched Sasuke's head, chuckled and praised, "You did a good job, little brat. I'll give you 5 points for this time. You have to mention my name when you show off in the future. If you get 100 points, you will get a mysterious prize." He didn't praise Sasuke's performance, but what Sasuke said was what he wanted. The power taught by Yagyu teacher. Very good. A good student is one who can help the teacher show off. Uchiha Sasuke's eyes lit up, and he forced himself to suppress the excitement in his heart. He put his hands in his pockets and asked coldly, "Mysterious prize? A new power? Who knows, maybe it is." Yagyu Tsuki replied casually, and ignored Uchiha Sasuke, watching the battle between Temari and Tenten below. Tenten showed all her strength at the beginning of the battle, while Temari, the little female brat, was playing around the whole time. There was no need to watch, the winner was already decided. The strength gap was huge. Open black lens bracket 70 close black lens bracket Rock Lee vs Gaara. Yuhi Kurenai poked Yagyu Tsuki with her arm, her delicate face full of curiosity, and asked, "Yagyu, how do you teach people? Can you teach me a little bit?" She was the first time to be a team leader, and Yagyu Tsuki was also the first time to be a team leader. Since they were both the first time to be team leaders, why could Yagyu Tsuki teach Jōnin so well? Uchiha Sasuke's strength just now has completely exceeded the Jōnin level, and even among the Chunin, he is one of the best. Yagyu Tsuki gently pinched Yuhi Kurenai's face and said with a smile, "Teaching is not very meaningful. It depends on the talent of the brat. Everyone has their own areas of expertise. Sister Honghong, you are more suitable to be a good wife and mother." Sister Honghong's talent is very mediocre. Even if she knows how to practice chakra, she can't master nature transformation and form changes. Her comprehensive strength has been locked in the special Jōnin. Since my own strength is limited, the scope of what I can teach will also be limited. I will have a chance to train Sister Honghong to become stronger in the future. It would be great if I could get a few chakra fruits from the sacred tree. Yuhi Hong opened Lu Shengyu's hand, rubbed her face that was slightly painful from being pinched, and said sullenly, "What do you mean? Do you dislike me for being weak? You are so good, Lu Shengyue, you are really the opposite of Tian Gang. Let me be a good wife and mother, which means that I have poor talent and no strength, and let me give up being a ninja and run to take care of children, right? Wait a minute. It seems good to be able to take care of Lu Shengyu's children and be a good wife and mother." Lu Shengyue touched Yuhi Hong's head, deliberately put on a confident expression, and said, "You are very weak, so weak that I can bully you at will, so you only need to be responsible for being cute and leave things to me. Sister Honghong doesn't need to be so strong. Anyway, there is an invincible person like me to guard her, and there will always be opportunities to cheat and upgrade in the future. For example, when I draw the reward of the fruit of the sacred tree that can produce energy, I will get a sacred fruit for Sister Honghong to eat and play with. As the saying goes, if one person succeeds, the whole family will ascend." Yagyu Yu attaches great importance to Yuhi Kurenai, because when he first crossed over to the ninja world, the first person he met was Yuhi Kurenai, and Yuhi Kurenai used to take good care of him. He is a person who has a clear distinction between love and hate. Yuhi Kurenai felt the warmth of Lu Shengyu's palm, and the corners of her mouth slightly raised a beautiful arc, humming, "I'll eat the pie you drew first." Might Guy walked to Lu Shengyue, raised a thumb, and a gleam of light flashed through his white teeth. He smiled heartily and passionately. "Talent is important, but hard work is more important. My beloved disciple will prove that hard work can surpass genius." Lu Shengyue glanced at the battlefield below and Tianshan, who was defeated by Temari's 3-star fan, and said lightly, "Really? That little girl has lost." Might Guy didn't care about Tianshan's defeat, but smiled heartily and said, "Failure is an experience. After failure, just work harder until you can work hard to defeat your opponent. This is youth, and..." Lu Shengyue perfunctorily said, "Well said. I always want to beat you once." Might Guy put his hand on Lu Shengyue's shoulder. He wanted to defeat Hitaki Kakashi, who was called a genius, and also wanted to defeat Lu Shengyue, who was crowned as the strongest. "To defeat me? It's hard. If you are prepared to die, you should have a chance of winning." Lu Shengyue sipped his lollipop and glanced at Might Guy's thick eyebrows. Under normal circumstances, Might Guy would be easily defeated by himself, even if he used 8 inner gates, but it would be a different story if thick eyebrows opened the death gate. The death gate is the 8th gate of 8 inner gates. After thick eyebrows opened the death gate in Kryptonian, he could have a power beyond the level of 6 paths in a short period of time, and could even use airflow to distort the truth-seeking ball that surpasses all matter. Might Guy said, "You are my friend. Only when protecting important people can a ninja be prepared to die." His father taught him that when encountering an enemy that cannot be defeated, and the most important friend or important thing is in danger, then implement the ninja way. Yagyu Tsuki said disdainfully, "Don't talk so corny, real men can't please me. To be honest, I'm quite curious about how strong the Death Gate is, and I want to try to see how far it can push me. The genin of Sand Shinobi Village is very strong. Yui Hong frowned slightly, staring at Tamari who was in high spirits below. This female ninja from Sand Shinobi Village named Tamari, no matter how you look at it, is far stronger than the genin, and is even much stronger than many Chunin in the village. 0. Please give me flowers. Currently, Sand Shinobi Village is being used by Orochimaru, and Tamari will probably join the war soon, right? Ordinarily, Orochimaru's disguise should be exposed, and then Sand Shinobi Village should realize that they have been deceived, but Yagyu Tsuki said that there is no need to expose the disguise. Yes. Whether or not it is used by Orochimaru, since Sand Shinobi Village has decided to start a war, it means that the top leaders of Sand Shinobi Village have had ulterior motives for a long time, and they should patiently wait for all the compensation after Sand Shinobi Village is defeated. And the third Hokage, who rarely agrees with Yagyu Tsuki's point of view, thinks that they should pretend that they have not discovered Orochimaru's disguise, and then take this opportunity to hit Sand Shinobi Village hard, and by the way, ask for a huge amount of compensation from Sand Shinobi Village. Oyuhi Kurenai sighed secretly in her heart. Little fox and old fox. Hokage-sama is even more of an old fox. On the surface, he said that he wanted to get along with all the villages in a friendly manner, but secretly he was planning how to harm Sand Shinobi Village and how to ask for a huge compensation from Sand Shinobi Village. Sand Shinobi Village is very weak and is the weakest of the 5 major ninja villages. Currently, the strongest comprehensive village is Rock Shinobi Village, and the village with more resources is Konoha Village. Sand Shinobi Village attacking Konoha is a suicide mission, especially since Konoha knew in advance that Orochimaru was going to use Sand Shinobi Village to implement the plan, so Konoha was able to repel Sand Shinobi Village almost without any injuries. This is also the reason why Hokage-sama followed Yagyu Tsuki's advice and planned to take this opportunity to ask for a huge compensation. Sand Shinobi Village and Konoha are allies, and they can also take this opportunity to completely defeat the rebellious hearts of the Sand Shinobi Village leaders. Moonlight Gale looked at Tenten, who was carried away by the medical ninja, then looked up at the screen above. After seeing the randomly selected names of the players, a trace of surprise flashed in his eyes, and then he announced weakly, the next game, cough cough cough, Rock Lee vs. Gaara. Tamari had just mocked Tenten for being weak, and Team 3 had just had a conflict with Gaara and others, and then Rock Lee and Gaara were randomly selected for a battle. Fate really plays tricks on people. By the way, Rock Lee is completely a smaller version of Might Guy, just like Might Guy's biological son, Kawa. Open black lens bracket 71 close black lens bracket second case cage's bloody limit. Gaara walked into the battlefield in full view of the crowd. Go ahead, Lee. Might Guy patted Rock Lee on the back and said with a hearty smile, let everyone witness your ninja way. Yes, Teacher Guy. Rock Lee saluted, then jumped over the fence and jumped from the second floor to the competition field. I am Rock Lee, please give me more advice. Failure is a normal thing, but I can't tolerate you mocking a ninja who is working hard. If I can defeat you, please ask Tamari to take back what you said. Rock Lee put one hand behind his back and the other hand in front of him, posing as if he was ready to fight at any time. Tenten's defeat only shows that Tamari is very strong, but Tamari actually mocked Tenten as a useless ninja in the end. He couldn't accept that his friend who was working hard was mocked by others. Gaara folded his hands in front of his chest, his eyes were emotionless, and he looked at Rock Lee in the distance expressionlessly. He had no interest in talking to Rock Lee about those useless things. At this time, on the second floor, Tamari and Konkuro looked solemn, staring at Gaara below with worry. Lord Casecage ordered, 623, last night to advance the plan. Gaara will burst out the power of one-tail Shukaku in this duel, and then the Sand Shinobi lurking around will use this as a signal to launch a surprise attack. In other words, after Gaara goes berserk and uses the power of one-tail Shukaku, the plan to establish the Konoha Shinobi village will officially begin. But, do we really want to start a war? Moonlight Gale clenched his fist and put it to his mouth, coughing and raising his hand to announce, cough cough cough. The game begins. As soon as the voice fell, Leaf Hurricane. Rock Lee suddenly jumped up, jumped into the air and kicked a spinning upper kick, fiercely lifting it to Gaara's head. Gaara did not move, and looked at the wireless approaching indifferently. Rock Lee, just as Rock Lee was about to kick him in the head. Ong. A large piece of sand rose from the ground, protecting Gaara like a shield, blocking Rock Lee's powerful kick. Is there a ninjutsu that can control sand? Let's try it first. Rock Lee jumped back and flipped twice, leaving a large distance from Gaara, looking at the sand that was surging like a shield around Gaara. Konoha Gale. Rock Lee exerted force on his legs, and the whole person was ejected like a cannonball. He launched a fierce attack on Gaara, but no matter what method he used to attack, he would be blocked by the rock-hard sand. At this time, on the second floor. Strange ability, blood limit. Yuhi Kurenai pinched her white chin, looking at Gaara below thoughtfully, and after looking for a while, she muttered with a strange expression, strange. Should I say weird? Those sands are like living life. She found that Gaara did not move, and did not even use any chakra. The sand was like a living being, automatically helping Gaara defend against attacks. What a strange ability. A cold and heroic voice sounded behind Kurenai. The successive case cages all have unique bloodline limits. The third case cage and the fourth case cage use magnet style. This kid. Gaara, right? The bloodline limit he uses is the same as the second case cage. After hearing the voice, Kurenai turned to look at the heroic Tsunade and greeted him politely, Tsunade-sama. Tsunade nodded slightly in response, and looked at Gaara below with boredom, saying, the bloodline limit of controlling sand is the ability developed by the second case cage through the tailed beasts. The sand used by Gaara is far from that of the second case cage. She had seen the second case cage and the sand escape he used, which was the power to create a small desert with a wave of his hand. The bloodline limit used by Gaara is simply one dimension behind the second case cage. Not to mention having seen the second case cage, she has even seen the first case cage. When she was very young, she secretly followed her great-grandfather Hashirama to the 5-cage summit without telling her second grandfather Tobirama. At that time, she met the powerful first-generation cages of the major ninja villages. The bloodline limit of the second case cage? Yuhi Kurenai was slightly stunned. She didn't understand how strong the bloodline limit of the second generation was, but since sand release was an ability developed through the research of the tailed beasts, Gaara, who possessed this power, should be very strong. Yagyu Tsuki lay on the fence, holding his face with his hands and watching the battle below in boredom. After hearing Tsunade's explanation, he said in a very casual tone, the longer you live, the more you know. The old woman is knowledgeable. The tailed beasts are beasts called pets, and the bloodline limit developed through the research of beasts. The means of mortals are just the lowest level. In addition to the special bloodline limit of wood style, the strongest bloodline limit in the whole ninja world is Sharingan, which is truly the strongest and has the highest upper limit. Many losers can directly upgrade to cage level after opening Mangekyo in anger. If the ability of Mangekyo is very useful, they can even directly advance to become a strong cage. Uchiha Obito is an example. He was a waste before he opened Mangekyo. After opening Mangekyo and using Kamui, he could fight the 4th Hokage head-on. Although hard work is a good thing, you have to cheat to become stronger. Of course. Dust Release, Tensigan, Rinnegan, these are all bloodline nets. Sharingan can't become Rinnegan no matter how it is upgraded. Uchiha Madara can open Rinnegan because of Indra's reincarnation power. When Tsunade heard being called an old woman, her face turned extremely cold, and she said in a cold voice, you damn white-haired, you should know my temper. If you make me angry, you're looking for death. Old woman. How dare you say that? I will always look 18 years old no matter what. Yagyu was lazy and perfunctory, really? That's quite scary. Tsunade bit her lips lightly, looking at Yagyu's indifferent attitude. A rage like wanting to tear someone apart surged in her heart. Her white hand slowly clenched into a fist. Just when she was about to punch Yagyu, Tsunade-sama. Kato Shizune hurriedly held Tsunade's hand, shaking his head with a worried expression on his face. You damn white-haired. Bah, I was led astray by Tsunade-sama. Although Yagyu's words were very harsh, it was at least a compliment after all, which was just a roundabout way of praising Tsunade-sama as very knowledgeable. They are still in the reconciliation period, and it was Tsunade-sama who took the initiative to find Yagyu Tsuki to reconcile. Since she took the initiative to find her ex-boyfriend to reconcile, how can she reconcile with such a violent attitude? Yagyu Tsuki must have thought that Tsunade-sama was too violent before, so she dumped Tsunade-sama, right? HMPH. Tsunade snorted coldly. She was in a very bad mood. She was just happily watching the game from a distance, and then Shizune kept urging her, saying that if she found Yagyu Tsuki later, Yuhi Kurenai would take the lead. Speechless. I can't explain so much. Yuhi Kurenai saw that Tsunade was angry, so she smiled and asked, can sand escape be automatically defended? Tsunade said, automatic defense? How can there be such a convenient ability? All abilities are controlled and used through chakra. Yagyu Tsuki reminded, you have lived to such an age, and it seems that you have not seen much of the world. The red-haired kid used automatic defense. Tsunade frowned slightly, forcibly suppressed the anger in her heart, and said coldly and forcefully, idiot, how can there be such a convenient ability? Damn white hair, I will tolerate you one last time. In the strange blood limit, chakra is also needed. Any ability requires one's own chakra to use, but what if those sands are living things with consciousness? Yagyu said. Ask me quickly. Hold it, I'm not interested in knowing. Tsunade snorted coldly. She really didn't want to know these things. There was no point in studying Gaara's sand escape ability. Yuhi Kurenai asked curiously, why? 5.5. The red-haired kid's abilities are divided into 3 categories. Yagyu raised 3 fingers and said, the tailed beasts, his. Yagyu said, the red-haired kid's automatic defense sand is a living thing with chakra and consciousness. To be precise, it is the will left by his mother after her death. Mother's love is the most determined will in the world. FK. Everyone around was speechless, even Might Guy had a strange expression after hearing it. The word, FK, said by Lu Shengyue sounded like a curse no matter how you listened to it. Will? Tsunade was surprised. Chakra can actually have will, and even protect Gaara? She was a little curious now. You are not interested, don't ask more if you are not interested. Lu Shungyue didn't say anything more, and looked at the fierce battle below calmly. Tsunade's mouth twitched slightly. She really had no interest just now, but now she has a great interest, because chakra is what she has been studying. But the problem is that she just said she was not interested, and now she is too embarrassed to ask more questions. Open black lens bracket 72 close black lens bracket. Will I win? I will lose? Damn. Weird statement. Yuhi Kurenai repeated what Yagyu Yu said. No matter from which angle you look at it, it feels like a curse from Yagyu Yu's mouth. But Yagyu Yu meant that Gaara has 3 kinds of chakra, his mother's chakra, the tailed beast's chakra, and his own chakra. In other words, can Gaara use his mother's chakra to implement non-consumption sand defense? If so, no matter how hard Rock Lee attacks, it is a waste of energy. Yagyu Yu glanced at Yuhi Kurenai beside him, and seeing Yuhi Kurenai's thoughtful attitude, he said, there is no need to think so much, just a red-haired stitched warrior. Speaking of stitched warriors, there are also many stitched warriors in the village. The biggest stitched warrior is Danzo, who turned himself into a spliced android. Naruto leaned on the fence with both hands, watching Rock Lee's failure to break through the battle of sand, and shouted angrily, "What are you doing, Xiao Li? Hurry up and teach this stinking guy a lesson." He was ignored by the Sand Shinobi village led by Gaara in the examination venue before. The most annoying thing was that Gaara actually asked Sasuke's name. When he took the initiative to introduce himself, he was ignored by Gaara and others again. Damn it. I must get back the O3 field. Rock Lee's attack was blocked by Gaara. If he continues to consume like this, will Rock Lee lose? Haruno Sakura lay on the fence, watching the game below. It doesn't matter who wins or loses. When the final battle comes, I will prove the power of Uchiha. Uchiha Sasuke put his hands in his pockets and leaned against the wall, looking at the battle below with coldness and indifference. He was not interested in who won or lost, because all of them would lose to him. He had the Sharingan's precise insight and the Rasengan's attack power. The combination of the two made him almost invincible among the genin. At least, he thought so. Little Lee is a hardworking genius, and he will definitely prove his ninja way. Might Guy put his hands on his hips, looked at the game below with a resolute expression, and said firmly, he will prove the value of hard work to everyone else. Rock Lee was the hardest working person he had ever seen, and the least talented person he had ever seen, but Rock Lee was a hard-working genius. Rock Lee was his most beloved student, and he taught Rock Lee everything he had. Because since the day he met Rock Lee's ninja way was his dream. But Rock Lee lost to Gaara from Sand Shinobi Village in the second exam. Haruno Sakura recalled the second exam, when their Team 7 encountered Gaara and others, and then Rock Lee came out to rescue them, but they still lost to Gaara in the end. Even at that time, Gaara single-handedly defeated many genins from other villages without any injuries. Might Guy raised a thumb, his white teeth flashed a light, and he said with a bright and confident smile, the lotus of Konoha will bloom again, and Rock Lee has not yet shown his true strength. Team 7 was slightly stunned. They had said this before in the Death Forest when Rock Lee was defeated. Yagyu Tsuki sipped his lollipop, glanced at Might Guy lightly, and said, you will lose. It is true that he will lose. There is no doubt that he will lose. Gaara's current hard power has surpassed many Jōnin. His strength should be around the elite Jōnin level. If he uses the chakra of one-tail Shukaku, his strength should be able to reach the weak Kage level. He can even match the then current Mizuno Haku, but the red-haired kid can't control the power of the tailed beasts at present. Might Guy looked at Rock Lee on the battlefield below, raised a thumb, and shouted cheerfully, Little Lee, now is the time for you to implement the ninja way. Use all your strength to prove yourself. Rock Lee suddenly stopped attacking Gaara, looked up at Might Guy on the second floor viewing platform, and said in surprise, Teacher Guy, you mean? Might Guy affirmed, you are happy, right? What to take off? Everyone in Team 7 was puzzled. Yagyu Tsuki said casually, black stockings. Really? Haruno Sakura and Uzumaki Naruto were stunned. Yuhi Kurenai lightly hit Yagyu Tsuki on the shoulder and rolled her eyes at Yagyu Tsuki. Yagyu, stop talking nonsense. She had been tricked by Yagyu Tsuki before. On Yagyu Tsuki's 5th birthday, Yuhi Kurenai asked Yagyu Tsuki what gift she wanted. Yagyu Tsuki didn't hesitate at all and directly said that Yuhi Kurenai should wear black silk and use her knees as a pillow once. Then, Yuhi Kurenai, who was only 13 years old at the time, was still very ignorant. She was foolishly put on black silk by Yagyu Tsuki, and then let Yagyu Tsuki sleep on her legs. Now think about it. It's very embarrassing, pervert. Tsunade saw Yagyu Tsuki and Yuhi Kurenai doing something secretly. She frowned slightly and a strange feeling surged in her heart. Yagyu Tsuki, you idiot. You had that incident with me that night, but you still have the nerve to talk to other women in front of me. You really don't take that night seriously at all. What a scumbag. Hyuga Hinata trotted towards Yagyu Tsuki from a distance, and then walked naturally between Yagyu Tsuki and Yuhi Kurenai, as if deliberately separating the two. Hyuga Hinata held Yagyu Tsuki's hand, and her face turned slightly red when she felt the warmth of her hand. She asked softly, Yug. Yagyu brother, will Rock Lee really lose? Hyuga Hinata didn't care whether Rock Lee won or lost, she just found a topic to intervene. In her eyes, Yagyu Tsuki was already her boyfriend. So even if the teacher Hong, whom she respected very much, walked in with her boyfriend Yagyu Tsuki, she would still be jealous. Hinata. Yui Kurenai looked at Hinata strangely. She felt that Hyuga Hinata's behavior was very strange, as if she was deliberately declaring her sovereignty to her. It must be an illusion. Hinata's behavior should be unintentional. After all, Hinata is a shy little girl. How can she understand so many little calculations between women? And Hinata, who is easily shy, has no obligation to declare her sovereignty to herself, because there is something between Hinata and Yagyu Tsuki. What can she use to declare her sovereignty? It should be an illusion. How can the cute Hinata have so many little thoughts? You will lose, but winning or losing doesn't matter. You must have the courage to face failure. Yagyu Tsuki gently pinched Hyuga Hinata's face, secretly sighing in his heart that it feels so good, like pinching a soft, sweet dumpling 660. It doesn't matter whether others win or lose, but you must win. No matter who the enemy is, you must be invincible and show overwhelming and absolute violence. Because bullying the enemy is really cool after winning. He likes the pleasure of crushing others, especially those self-righteous enemies. The audience was puzzled. Rock Lee jumped back, rolled in the air for a few rounds, and landed on the fingers of the giant stone statue. Teacher guy, that's great. Rock Lee sat cross-legged on the fingers of the stone statue, happy like a child, and quickly untied the weights tied to his two calves. The audience was even more puzzled. Rock Lee just untied the weights. Is it necessary to make it so happy and relaxed? Weights are very common in practice, right? Rock Lee threw the weights to the field below. Boom. The weights fell to the ground at a very fast speed, directly smashing two small pits on the ground. Thick gray smoke rose from the ground, rolling and spreading all over the ground. Hiss, everyone in the audience gasped and stared at the two weights in the pit in a daze. Looking at the two ordinary iron leggings, even many Jōnin present were a little stunned. This weight is a bit outrageous, in other words. Has Rock Lee been wearing such an outrageous weight just now, fighting against Gaara from Sand Shinobi Village? Judging from the size of the pit smashed, many Chunin-level ninjas would not be able to move with this weight on, right? Open black lens bracket 73 close black lens bracket 8 inner gates, the time to practice the ninja way. Leaf Hurricane. Rock Lee leapt up suddenly, and after landing on the ground, he seemed to disappear so quickly, and attacked Gaara in all directions at a very fast speed. Gradually, the speed of the sand defense could no longer keep up with Rock Lee's speed. Just by removing the weight, the speed was qualitatively improved. What a fast speed. Gaara crossed his arms and felt the gusts of wind blowing through him expressionlessly. The light blue wind was Rock Lee who was attacking fiercely. Shadow Dance Leaf. Rock Lee's arms trembled suddenly, and the bandages wrapped around his arms fell off completely, and then his legs bent and ejected like a cannonball. At this time, he burst out with even greater speed. 8 inner gates, the first gate, open. Rock Lee completely broke through the sand, and appeared below Gaara like an instant, then raised his leg and kicked Gaara's chin. Bang! Gaara was kicked into the air, but because of the heavy sand all over his body, he was kicked into the air very slowly. Rock Lee rose from the ground, chasing Gaara who was flying upwards, and then kicked Gaara in the abdomen fiercely, and then kicked several times in a row. Each kick made Gaara fly higher in the air. Lotus. The bandage tied on Rock Lee's arm wrapped around Gaara's body like a python, and then he hugged Gaara and spun quickly in the air. The two people who spun quickly fell to the ground with fierce momentum. Boom. The two people fell to the ground, and the ground shook violently. They smashed a small pit on the ground, and at this moment a figure jumped out of the pit. That figure was Rock Lee. What a weird feeling. Rock Lee frowned slightly, jumped back and somersaulted to the ground, keeping a relatively safe distance from the pit. He thought Gaara had a weird feeling. An indescribable weird feeling. Wow. So awesome. Everyone in Team 7 was shocked. They all looked at Rock Lee in disbelief. Rock Lee was even stronger than in the Forest of Death. Among the 3 members of Team 7, only Uchiha Sasuke could see Rock Lee's speed, while Naruto and Haruno Sakura couldn't see it at all. Might Guy put one hand on his waist and the other hand on Yagyu Yu's shoulder, and said cheerfully and proudly, "You, after seeing this move, do you still think Rock Lee will lose?" "He will lose." Yagyu Tsuki said lightly. The brats in Team 7 couldn't see clearly, but he could see every frame of the situation clearly. The thick-browed brat's attack was very fierce, but Gaara was still unscathed, and even his sand armor was not broken. It is possible to surpass genius with hard work, but it is definitely impossible to surpass cheating. With the current weak strength of the thick-browed brat, no matter how hard he attacks, he can't shake Shukaku's chakra. Want to become stronger? Cheat. Your student is a very good ninja, but this duel is not likely to be a good one. Tsunade glanced at Might Guy and said, "I advise you to be prepared to stop the game. You should be able to see that Gaara's ability is very strange." The sand escape ability used by Gaara is a simplified version of the second case gauge bloodline limit, but if it is combined with the one-tail Shukaku with the same attributes, it can burst out a fairly strong force. Although Gaara has not yet made a move, judging from the chakra, his strength is probably much stronger than Shizune. Shizune has the strength of a special Jōnin, and Gaara is at least Jōnin level. Tsunade-sama, please seriously witness Lee's performance. Might Guy did not look at Tsunade, but stared at Rock Lee below seriously the whole time. Lee. I will witness your ninjutsu and show the results of your hard work so far, weird? Hyuga Hinata blinked confusedly. She did not understand what Tsunade said about the ability being weird. Is the ninjutsu of controlling sand a very weird ability? What the adults said is so hard to understand. With everyone's attention, Gaara climbed out of the pit. There were cracks all over his skin, and those cracks that looked like wounds were repairing quickly. Unharmed. Unharmed. Rock Lee's expression gradually became solemn. The move he just used was all his strength after opening the first door. But even the full strength attack to open the first door could not cause any harm to Gaara, and even failed to make Gaara's expression moved. Is this the strength of a genius? He is born weaker than anyone else. In the ninja world where strength is supreme, chakra is the only power of a ninja, but his chakra has no attributes, which means he is born the most useless waste. Chakra has no attributes, so he can't use chakra. He can't use ninjutsu, nor can he use illusion. Even when he was in the ninja school before, he was much behind others in physical skills. Uzumaki Naruto can use chakra, but he who can't use chakra is a real tail end. But he never gave up. Weaker than others. Then work harder, still weak after working hard. Then work harder. If you are still weaker than others after working harder, then you will work 10 or even 100 times harder than others, and one day you will definitely surpass the genius. Is this all your strength? Very weak. With your strength, there is no way to make Tamari take back that sentence. Gaara looked at Rock Lee expressionlessly, indifferently. He did not deliberately mock Rock Lee, as if he was just stating a fact. I am indeed very weak, and I don't have any talent. I have always been a person who is laughed at. In school, people say that I am a hot-blooded tail end. Good money Jow. And I can't even pass the graduation exam, but I have been practicing physical skills hard. Then, that day, I finally became a genin. Rock Lee had a firm expression and turned his head to look at Might Guy on the second floor above. Might Guy nodded and said seriously, use it, now is the time for you to surpass the genius, Lee. Yes, Mr. Guy. Rock Lee clenched his fist suddenly, several blue veins bulged on his forehead, and his skin gradually turned dark red. I want to prove that even if I don't know ninjutsu or illusion, I can still become an excellent ninja. This is all my life, this is my ninjutsu. 8 inner gates, the third gate, the gate of life. Ong. Rock Lee burst out with light blue steam, and the scorching high-temperature airflow blew in all directions like a gust of wind. A small whole island appeared on the ground with him as the core. Open black lens bracket 74 close black lens bracket who is stronger, Yagyu Tsuki or 8 gate. 8 inner gates. All the Jōnin in the audience looked solemn, staring at Rock Lee, whose body was covered with green steam. They never thought that Might Guy would teach Rock Lee the 8 inner gates. Are you crazy? Rasengan is dangerous because it is dangerous to the enemy, but 8 inner gates is dangerous because it is dangerous to the user. Every time a gate is opened, it will cause serious backlash to the user. If used incorrectly, it is very likely to die directly. It is a move that hurts the enemy as much as it hurts itself. All the Jōnin leading the team looked at Might Guy in reproach. Might Guy felt the blaming gazes of the crowd and said firmly, hard work can surpass genius. This is all Rock Lee has. I believe he can become an excellent ninja. When he first met Rock Lee, he had the same opinion as everyone else, thinking that Rock Lee was just a passionate teenager, and the so-called hard work in practice was probably just a flash in the pan. This was his thought at the time. Then he watched for a long time, and Rock Lee didn't have a flash in the pan. He practiced hard every day, and after practice, he challenged those so-called geniuses. After failure, he continued to practice hard, and after practice, he continued to challenge geniuses, repeating day after day, working 900 times harder every day. Finally, Might Guy was moved. He wanted to witness Rock Lee's ninja way, and wanted to see the moment when Rock Lee surpassed genius. There are fools in every era, and only fools will do things that risk everything to fulfill their dreams. Tsunade sneered sarcastically, and a trace of grief flashed in her amber eyes. Only life has meaning, and death only brings grief. There is no point in risking everything to fulfill a dream, and only living is the best choice. Dreams go to hell. Living is important. What's the difference between a person without dreams and a salted fish? No one can take away the dreams of young people. The real death of a person is living aimlessly. Lu Shengyue slapped Tsunade's butt, deliberately putting on a teaching tone and said, don't laugh at someone who is working hard. Be careful, I will spank you. It is important to live, but it is also important to firmly implement your beliefs. A dream that can be fulfilled while alive is a dream. Living is the most basic wisdom, because only when people are alive can they do something. You are looking for death. Tsunade was recalling the death of an important person, and her mood was in sadness, grief and loneliness. The pain of the drum made her body tremble slightly, her fair and delicate face flushed slightly, and a sense of shameful anger surged in her heart. The dead white-haired man must be poisonous. He actually beat my drum in public. If someone saw it, it would be humiliating. The legendary Sannin was beaten by someone. This joke would make people laugh to death. Tsunade glanced at everyone in the audience and found that everyone was staring at Rock Lee. She secretly breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, no one noticed. The dead white-haired man really deserved to die. If it weren't for the fact that in the Chunin test, I must beat you fiercely now. Lu Shungyue played the forehead of Tsunade lightly and said lightly, since what has happened cannot be changed, then change the future. People can only be valuable when they live. Is it valuable for living talents? The dead white hair is right. Suddenly, Tsunade feels a hostile sight, and she sees that after looking down and looking at the sight, and is seriously watching the Hyuga Hinata of the battle. Strange. Tsunade frowned slightly. Clearly, there was a hostile gaze just now, but the person he saw following his gaze was Hyuga Hinata, and that Hyuga Hinata was watching the game seriously. The most important thing was that Hinata had no reason to be hostile to him. Illusion. Tsunade retracted his gaze. Hyuga Hinata secretly glanced at Tsunade. She had just clearly seen her brother Yagyu playing Tsunade's drum. 8 inner gates. Everyone in Team 7 was puzzled. It was the first time they heard of the 8 inner gates move, but judging from the expressions of the team leaders Jōnin present, could it be that the 8 inner gates was a very powerful move? Each time a gate is opened, the strength can be increased. Opening the 8th gate can give you a power beyond the shadow in just a few seconds, but opening the 8th gate will kill you. Yagyu Tsuki briefly explained, looking at Rock Lee below. With the current strength of the thick-browed kid, he can only open the 4th gate at most. The 8 inner gates has the ability to increase the user's physical body. How strong the power can be used is fully used. Uzumaki Naruto asked curiously, is opening the 8th gate very powerful? Is it more powerful than Yagyu-sensei? Who knows, but the 8th gate can definitely kick the 3rd-generation old dog away. Yagyu took out a lollipop, unwrapped it, and put it into his mouth and sipped it lightly. Haruno Sakura pinched his chin and said with serious thinking, since opening the 8th gate can surpass the Hokage, it should be more powerful than Yagyu-sensei. After all, it is a move that burns life. Yagyu brother is very powerful. Hyuga Hinata softly retorted that she thought Yagyu Tsuki was the most powerful ninja she had ever seen. Yagyu Tsuki thought for a moment, and a faint smile gave people a frivolous feeling, saying, it may be troublesome, but I will definitely win. Surpassing the shadow is just the threshold of the strong. Opening the 8 gates can have the power of the 6 pads level in a few seconds, but these few seconds are meaningless. I am a man with a cheat. Before having the Tensigen, it is undoubtedly a defeat to fight against the 8 gates, but after having the Tensigen, my own all-round strength has been multiplied by several times. Currently, the overall strength is much stronger than 6 pads Madara. As long as I don't stupidly resist the attack of the 8 gates, I can defeat the 8th gate no matter what. Of course. Even if I resist the attack of the 8 gates, it's okay. Now I can heal myself instantly even if I am cut in half. What's more, if I really encounter the 8 inner gates, I will directly expand a field and open the 8 inner gates. The enemies of the gate should just lie on the ground and wait for death. Yagi-ni is the best. Hyuga Hinata hugged Yagi-ni and rubbed her face against Yagi-ni's waist like a cute kitten. Because she was much shorter than Yagi-ni, her face could only touch Yagi-ni's waist. Haruno Sakura was speechless. Why didn't she realize that Hyuga Hinata was such a girl who was good at being coquettish and clingy when she was in the ninja school before? With Hinata's soft and cute personality, she would actually act coquettishly. This is also a kind of contrast. Yagi-ni bent down and whispered in Hinata's ear, there are more powerful ones, do you want to try it? Hinata was very clingy after last night, but it's good. Being clingy to a cute loli is a man's romance. Hyuga Hinata felt the heat in her ear, and her cute face turned red. She lowered her head and whispered shyly, if Yagi-ni wants, I can do it. Brother Yagyu is probably talking about something similar to what happened last night, right? It hurts. It's embarrassing. But, there's a strange feeling of comfort. 75. Risking everything, Rock Lee's ninja way. So cute. Yagyu Tsuki patted Hinata's head. Ah, loli is so nice. Hinata is really great. If those crazy women are so obedient, I can complete the inner palace plan within 3 days. At this time, the battlefield. Even Gaara, who has always been very calm, frowned when he saw Rock Lee bursting with light blue airflow, and asked in a deep voice, what kind of power is this? Teacher guy, please look at me carefully, now is the time for me to implement the ninja way. Rock Lee gritted his teeth, endured the severe pain that shook his brain, scarlet blood flowed out of his eye sockets, and the high-temperature steam emitted from his body became even hotter. The light blue steam gradually turned into dark blue. This is all I have now, the 4th gate of the 8 inner gates, the wound gate, open. Rock Lee clenched his fists tightly, his pupils turned from black to pale, his skin turned dark red as if burned, and cracks like tortoise shells appeared on the surface of his skin. The strong steam blew away the stones on the ground, and its terrible high temperature distorted the air. The wound gate is his limit, and it is all he has worked hard for so far. He wants to bet everything on this attack, to prove his ninjutsu to everyone, to prove to everyone that hard work can defeat genius. Neji, watch carefully, this is the move I prepared for you. Rock Lee suddenly jumped up, flashing like a dark blue light, leaving a series of sonic booms wherever he passed. His speed has now reached the Mach level. What a fast speed! Everyone in the audience trembled in their hearts. With the dynamic vision of many Jōnin leaders present, they could not fully see Rock Lee's moving speed. This terrible speed that broke out in an instant has completely reached the Jōnin level. With my Sharingan, I can't even see it clearly. Uchiha Sasuke's expression was solemn, staring at the battlefield with Tsutomu Sharingan. He didn't see it at all. Rock Lee's moving figure. Rock Lee just disappeared out of thin air. With my Uchiha clan Sharingan's dynamic vision, I couldn't even see Rock Lee's moving speed. Meaning, Rock Lee is stronger than me. What a joke. There is such a monster among the genin. Rock Lee's speed has completely surpassed that of the mist ninja demon from the land of waves. Damn it. The speed is okay, barely passable, but it seems that it can only last for a minute at most. Yagyu Tsuki held his face with his hands, looking at the high-speed moving Rock Lee calmly. He didn't need to use Tensigan, he could clearly see Rock Lee's speed, even any subtle behavior. The speed of the thick-browed kid fourth gate was very fast, but he was barely a special Jōnin, and it was a special Jōnin that could only last for 1 minute. Can it only last for 1 minute? Yui Hong frowned slightly. With her special Jōnin strength, she could only barely see Rock Lee's afterimage. Tsunade said in a deep voice, 8 inner gates has a heavy load. With Rock Lee's current tolerance, if he uses the fourth gate for more than 1 minute, it is likely to leave sequelae. Uchiha Sasuke's face was terribly gloomy, and a surge of anger surged in his heart. I couldn't see Rock Lee's moving figure even with Sharingan, and Rock Lee seemed to have disappeared out of thin air, but how come you can see it one by one? At this time, the battlefield. Shadow Dance Leaf. Rock Lee's body was covered with dark blue steam, and he appeared in front of Gaara like lightning and thunder, and then kicked Gaara into the sky. What a fast speed. Gaara's mouth was bleeding, and he flew quickly into the sky. The sand armor covering his body gradually fell off. He couldn't see Rock Lee's speed with his naked eyes, and the automatic defense sand couldn't keep up with Rock Lee's attack. Betting everything. This is my ninja way. Rock Lee attacked Gaara quickly in the air at Mach speed. 1 minute. That Yagyu teacher was right, 1 minute is indeed my current limit, so I will bet everything in these 10 minutes. The Chunin selection exam is an opportunity for me to implement the ninja way. I have been practicing hard since I was a child, and I have dreamed of becoming a qualified ninja. I have worked hard to surpass the belief of genius and responded to the expectations of Mr. Guy. I want to bet everything on this minute. Mr. Guy, please look at me carefully. I will prove my ninja way. 0. Please give me flowers. 0. Li Lianhua. Rock Lee hugged Gaara, and the bandage on his arm was wrapped around Gaara's waist. The two of them spun rapidly in the sky, and a dark blue gust of wind was generated after the rotation. Then the two of them fell heavily to the ground at Mach speed. Boom boom. The two of them fell heavily to the ground, shaking the entire Chunin examination venue. The two of them smashed a fairly large pit on the ground. Shua. Rock Lee jumped back from the pit, and then fell to the ground with weak legs. Hoo. Rock Lee sat on the ground exhausted, and the heart-wrenching pain spread all over his body. Now even if he moved a finger, he would cause severe pain in his knees. He couldn't move now, and his whole body was as weak as if he had lost consciousness, so the previous blow was all his current strength. Oh, he wanted to prove his firm implementation of ninja way through the previous blow. Hyuga Neji, standing on the second floor viewing platform, looked at the exhausted Rock Lee below and said to himself, "Little Lee, are you going to kill me?" Rock Lee actually said that the terrible blow was a move prepared for him? Is Rock Lee going to kill me? Did he win? Everyone in the audience was puzzled, staring at the pit covered by thick smoke. They now wanted to know whether Rock Lee won or not, and what state Gaara was in now. Is he dead? Sand binding coffin. The indifferent voice resounded throughout the venue, and the sand rose from the ground like a living thing, quickly wrapping around Rock Lee's hands and feet. Oh no! Rock Lee gritted his teeth and endured the severe pain, got up and staggered backwards, but he couldn't move because he was weak all over. Finally, Feng and Niu's legs were entangled by the sand. The breeze blew, the gray smoke dispersed, and everyone in the audience gradually saw the situation in the pit clearly. Gaara slowly climbed up, his cracked skin peeling off large pieces of sand armor, and he was now almost unscathed. Sandstorm funeral. Gaara slowly raised his hand, aimed at Rock Lee who was entangled in the sand, and then clenched his hand into a fist. Ah! Open black lens bracket 76 close black lens bracket. After working hard, I was defeated by genius. Little Lee. Might Guy held the fence tightly with both hands, staring solemnly at Rock Lee who was entangled by the sand below. Even he didn't expect that Rock Lee's full strength attack after opening the fourth gate didn't hurt Gaara at all. What was the strange power that Gaara used at the moment of landing? Before landing, Gaara used a very strange sand to cover his whole body, thus defending against Rock Lee's full strength attack of the fourth gate. Yagyu Tsuki said calmly, "Give up." Might Guy's expression was solemn, and he was hesitant. He said in a deep voice, "This kid wants to prove something even if he risks his life. How can I deny his efforts so far, idiot?" Tsunade frowned. Rock Lee is in a state where he is unable to fight again, but Might Guy, as a teacher, is still insisting. Dreams. Are they really that useful? Are they more valuable than life? The old woman scolded well. It is a good thing to work hard to fulfill your dreams. It is admirable to be determined to implement the ninja way at the risk of everything, but only living people can fulfill their dreams. Yagyu Tsuki held his face with his hands and looked down calmly at Gaara, who was gradually entering the tailed beast cloth state. Is the red-haired kid transforming into a tailed beast? Just now, he defended against Rock Lee's fourth gate full-strength attack with part of the power of one-tail Shukaku. Otherwise, with Gaara's current strength, he would not be able to withstand Rock Lee's full-strength attack without injury. To be honest, Rock Lee has done well enough, because Gaara in the tailed beast cloth state is at least at the level of elite Jōnin. Currently, among all the genin in the village, almost no one can defeat Gaara at full power. Old woman. Tsunade's face darkened, and he grabbed Yagyu Tsuki's collar fiercely, and said forcefully in a cold and indifferent voice, "Damn white hair, I have tolerated you for a long time. Let's find a place to fight seriously later. If you lose to me, you will be dead." Yagyu Tsuki chuckled lightly. Have you tolerated it for a long time? Yes, after all, older women are like wolves and tigers. Come to my house tonight and let you indulge yourself once, Yagyu brother. Hyuga Hinata puffed up her mouth slightly, looking at Yagyu Tsuki eagerly, with a completely cute jealous look. Tonight is a one-on-one duel. You are forbidden to use all ninjutsu, and you can only use one hand. If you stand still and move one step, you will lose. The loser will always obey the winner. Tsunade saw Yagyu Tsuki leaning forward a little, with a trace of panic in her eyes, and subconsciously took a step back. She was still quite afraid that Yagyu Tsuki would suddenly hug her and kiss her hard in front of so many people. Do you dare? If the dead white-haired man did not use all his moves, and only used one hand to fight, and even taking a step back was considered a defeat, then she would have an absolute grasp of victory. Although this proposal was very rogue, a bit like a child's tantrum. But there was no way, the dead white-haired man was really strong. Yagyu Tsuki asked, "Absolute obedience?" Tsunade affirmed, "Do what you say." Yagyu Tsuki asked, "Really?" Tsunade nodded, "Really? Okay, I will satisfy your coquettishness this time," Yagyu Tsuki said. Forbidden to use ninjutsu? Use only one hand? Move one step and you will lose? No problem at all. I will directly expand a domain. The domain that opens for about 0.05 seconds should allow Tsunade to stop thinking for a few minutes. Domain is domain. Ninjutsu is ninjutsu. All ninjutsu are prohibited, but domain is not prohibited. Sorry, I will reply to Sister Ru. You're just giving it away for free. Tsunade was slightly stunned. She was just saying something angry. She didn't expect that Yagyu Tsuki would actually agree to such unreasonable and capricious battle restrictions. Wait for death. Tsunade sneered. You will definitely win. If you still can't beat the dead white-haired guy with so many restrictions, then there is no need for you to be a ninja. Just find a place to farm honestly. Yagyu brother. Hyuga Hinata held Yagyu Tsuki's hand. She knew that Yagyu Tsuki had great strength, but after being restricted in so many things, how could he defeat Tsunade, one of the legendary Sannin? All ninjutsu are forbidden, only one hand can be used, and any movement is considered a loss. How to fight this? What if Lord Tsunade takes advantage of this bet and directly proposes to marry Brother Yagyu? Although Brother Yagyu rarely promises others anything, he is the kind of person who will do it as long as he promises 0.014301203 Filu 194,472,020. Is it okay? Yuhi Kurenai said worriedly. She also knew the character of Yagyu Yu. Yagyu Yu was proud of being a top strong man. As long as she promised to do something, she would definitely complete it as promised. What happened between Yagyu Yu and Lord Tsunade? It turned out to be so big, and judging from Lord Tsunade's attitude, it was obvious that he was really angry with Yagyu Yu. It's hard to bear. It's okay, I will win. Yagyu Yu waved his hand. Idiot. Tsunade hadn't finished her words when she felt a hangover like nausea rushing to her brain. She hurriedly covered her slightly cool and thin red lips with her hands. Strange. What happened? At this time, the battlefield. Gaara wins. Moonlight Gale frowned, looking at Rock Lee, who was lying on the ground with his hands and feet twisted. When he saw that Rock Lee was going to get up to fight, he hurriedly opened his mouth to announce Gaara's victory. I haven't lost yet. Rock Lee got up tremblingly, with scarlet blood flowing all over his body. He slowly raised his trembling right hand in front of him and put on an offensive posture he usually used. I have always believed that as long as I practice twice as hard as a genius, I will definitely become stronger. I have always believed it, but no matter how hard I try, I can never be as good as a true genius. Rock Lee's hoarse voice choked, and 2 tears rolled down his red eyes, and the tears rolled down his cheeks and fell to the ground. I put all my efforts and faith into it. I worked hard day after day, and failed day after day. Finally, I was able to show my hard work until now when I took the Chunin selection exam. I worked hard, and lost to a genius. This guy hasn't given up yet. Everyone in Team 7 looked serious. Rock Lee was seriously injured and dying, but he still hadn't given up on the Chunin selection exam. Don't rush me. I'll let you drink his blood right now. Mom, you're looking forward to his blood, right? Half of Gaara's body turned into a yellow raccoon cat, and the sand condensed into a thick tail behind him. He has now entered the tailed beast cloth state. Open black lens bracket 77 close black lens bracket Gaara goes berserk with the power of the Tensigen. Hee. Gaara showed a cruel and bloodthirsty smile, slowly raised his hand and aimed at Rock Lee. The sand on the ground with bloodline flew up, and attacked Rock Lee's head like a python. In an instant, bang, Might Guy appeared in front of Rock Lee, raised his hand to scatter the fierce sand. Rock Lee was fuzzy, looking at Might Guy's back, and said in a hoarse and choked voice, Teacher Guy, I lost. I tried hard, I have been trying hard, and I have worked twice as hard as everyone else. But, I lost. Little Lee. Might Guy's nose was sour, he turned around and hugged Rock Lee tightly, and said with tears in his eyes, You did a good job, you have tried very hard. Rock Lee fainted. Moonlight Gale took a deep look at Gaara and announced in a deep voice, The winner, Gaara. Suddenly, several medical ninjas on standby ran into the venue, and the stretcher carefully carried Ji Luke away. Everyone in the audience watched with heavy hearts as Rock Lee was carried away by the medical ninja. They never thought that Rock Lee would lose, and ended up in a miserable defeat after opening the fourth door. The speed and attack that Rock Lee just showed were completely at the level of a special Jōnin, and Gaara from Sand Shinobi Village was probably a Jōnin or elite Jōnin. The most important thing is, all the Jōnin present could clearly sense that the chakra that Gaara used just now was very strange. There is a problem. There is a big problem. The chakra gave people the feeling that it was like the nine-tails demon fox that was causing trouble in the past, full of negative emotions of evil and hostility. Tsunade held the fence with her hands, looking down at Gaara who was talking to himself below, with a thoughtful look in her eyes, muttering, The power of one tail? She could see that Gaara used the tailed beast chakra just now to defend Rock Lee's attack without injury. But Gaara actually used the tailed beast at this time. Could it be that Orochi Square Root had executed the plan in advance? Uzumaki Naruto was in a heavy mood and said unwillingly, I tried so hard, I wanted to prove myself, I had such strong strength, but I still lost to that guy from Sand Shinobi Village. Is this the only result I can get after all the efforts? Gaara? Uchiha Sasuke looked grim, staring at Gaara in the distance. Gaara's current state gave him the same feeling as when Uzumaki Naruto exploded with red chakra in the Land of Waves. Damn it. Whether it's the idiot Naruto, Gaara, or even Rock Lee, how come they all have such strong power? The speed Rock Lee just showed was much stronger than that of Uchiha Sasuke, but Gaara was able to defeat Rock Lee without any injury, which was enough to show that Gaara's strength was terrifying. Does it mean that he will definitely lose against Gaara? Damn it. The one who can win must be me, so cruel. Haruno Sakura muttered. She didn't expect Rock Lee to lose. Rock Lee tried to use all his strength to implement the ninja way, but he was defeated by the cruel reality in the end. Hyuga Hinata didn't comment, and didn't even care who won or lost. Since last night, she only had eyes for Yagyu Tsuki. There is no need to care about anyone except Yagyu. Dreams are the fantasies of the lower class. If everyone can realize their dreams, the existence of power will be meaningless. Yagyu Tsuki said lightly, No matter how hard you try, you will eventually bow to the cheater. So, what should I do now? Orochimaru's plan for that dead demon has been advanced. Gaara is on the verge of going berserk, but the third exam has just begun. At present, among the stinky tools in Team 7, only Uchiha Sasuke has helped me to show off. Uzumaki Naruto and Haruno Sakura have not appeared yet. When Uzumaki Naruto appears and uses the Rasengan, that will be the real way to show off. The best teacher will train the useless student to counterattack. Everyone present will show interesting expressions at that time. But after the war, using Danzo to test the power of Tensigen is an interesting thing I have been looking forward to for a long time. So what should I do? Wait a minute. After this war, we can continue with the third Chunin exam. There is no need to rush. It will only take a few days. Then, let's start. Yagyu Tsuki looked down at Gaara, who was on the verge of going berserk. His eyes condensed, and his black pupils turned into a pale blue with white. Tensigen. Since you want to go berserk, I will help you. Yagyu Tsuki condensed Tensigen. Suddenly. Gaara knelt on the ground with his head in his hands, and a strong chakra burst out of his body. This chakra formed a gust of wind like airflow, cutting a blade like scratch on the ground. Tsunade was slightly startled, staring at Yagyu Tsuki's Tensigen. She felt a breath very similar to Rinnegan from the light blue Tensigen, which gave people a sense of oppression like deterrence. Damn white hair, your eyes. Old woman, I have a task for you. Yagyu Tsuki did not answer Tsunade's question, but picked up Hyuga Hinata next to her. Protect her well. Yagyu Tsuki threw Hyuga Hinata to Tsunade. Tsunade subconsciously caught Hyuga Hinata. Tsunade and Hyuga Hinata looked at each other, and the two women looked at each other, both blinking in confusion. Sister Honghong, you'll be there for a while. Well, you go over there too. After thinking for a moment, Yagyu Tsuki picked up Yuhi Kurenai like a kitten, and threw her back to Tsunade. Tsunade held Hyuga Hinata in one hand, and subconsciously caught Yuhi Kurenai with the other hand, and then the three women all looked confused. 283 What the hell? Yagyu Tsuki hugged the three members of Team 7, pointed at Gaara who was accelerating and running below, and said lightly, "You little brats, try to stop him, and it's okay to kill him with all your strength. If you can't agree to Gaara, I'll think about it. Let Tsunade, that crazy woman, teach you for a month, understand? It's a good opportunity to use Gaara as a free tool. It's difficult to defeat Gaara with the current strength of Team 7, but we should be able to get a lot of growth points. Even if we don't get that much, we will definitely get points, understood?" The three members of Team 7 trembled in their hearts. Although they didn't understand what was going on, they still had to agree to Mr. Yagyu's order immediately, otherwise they would be taught by Master Tsunade for a month. Previously, Team 7 was beaten badly in this one time. If it lasts for a month, Team 7 will probably be missing limbs. Master Tsunade's teaching, it's scary to think about it. Am I a ghost? Tsunade's face turned cold. Damn dead white hair, actually used me to threaten Team 7? And, it was actually very effective? Is Team 7 so afraid of me? But the most important problem now is. Tsunade glanced at Gaara below, who was speeding up and running away. Strange, he was actually speeding up and running away. Could it be that the dead white hair did something with those eyes? 78, One-Tail Shukaku appears and the war begins. Ong. Gaara felt a sharp pain in his abdomen, and the burning pain spread all over his body. His bloodthirsty and cruel expression became distorted and hideous. He knelt on the ground, holding his aching abdomen. Blood-red chakra appeared all over his body, and this chakra exuded evil hostility. Gaara's sudden change caused everyone present to tremble in their hearts, and the expressions of the elite Jōnin hiding in the dark gradually became much more solemn. Did Orochimaru's plan come forward? In other words, the war is about to begin. This guy. Uzumaki Naruto stared at Gaara below in a daze. After staring for a while, he showed an incredible expression and asked in confusion, "Teacher Yagyu, why does Gaara feel so familiar to me?" He felt that Gaara's chakra seemed to be very similar to the stinky fox in the seal. Yagyu pointed at Gaara in the distance with a lollipop and deliberately said in a mysterious tone, "You are the same kind." The same kind? Uzumaki Naruto was shocked. Could it be that Gaara also has a monster inside him? Teacher Yagyu. What's going on now? Haruno Sakura grabbed the corner of Yagyu Tsuki's clothes, her fair face full of worry, and glanced at the silent Jōnin present. The leading Jōnin present didn't say much, but it was this oppressive and heavy atmosphere that made her feel scared. The atmosphere was strange. Teacher Yagyu's order just now was also strange. He asked us to stop Gaara? Will we be punished for interrupting the Chunin selection exam at will? What's going on now? War. Yagyu Tsuki said. War? Haruno Sakura was confused. How could a war break out of nowhere? She was about to ask some questions. Ah. Gaara held his head and roared in pain. His eyes turned into pale golden animal pupils, his arms turned into claws formed by sand, and the blood-red chucks that emerged from his body formed a steam like high-temperature airflow. Boom. The scorching hot steam covered the whole venue. The terrible breath caused everyone's expression to change slightly. Gaara finally turned into One-Tail Shukaku. Roar. One-Tail Shukaku's huge body like a small mountain sat in the Chunin selection examination venue. It raised its head and let out a sharp roar, bursting out a huge flow of chakra, which has completely surpassed the ordinary cage level. Tailed beast. After everyone in the audience was stunned for a moment, everyone looked at Shukaku with a solemn expression, looking at the huge raccoon cat appearance like a small mountain. Because of Shukaku's ridiculously huge chakra, everyone could feel a huge pressure. At this time, Sarutobi Hiruzen, who was on the third floor, looked at the raccoon cat Shukaku like a small mountain, and felt the chakra that was like destroying the world. A hint of sharpness appeared in his old eyes. Very similar. This feeling is very similar to the Nine Tails Rebellion in the past. Sarutobi Hiruzen glanced at the fourth cage beside him. Orochimaru's plan was actually advanced. This. Orochimaru, disguised as the cage, was looking at the 10-tailed Shukaku, which was like a small mountain in the distance below, with a little confusion. His plan was to put Gaara on the verge of going berserk, and through the verge of going berserk, let the Jōnin present realize that they must succeed in stopping Gaara from going berserk. After everyone realized it, Gaara fled directly to the distance, leading away the Jōnin who wanted to stop Gaara from going berserk. His plan was to use Gaara to attract a wave of hatred, but he didn't expect Gaara to go completely berserk in an instant, and even turned into the final form of One-Tail Shukaku. What's going on? Even if Gaara changed his plan temporarily, it would take time to enter the final form of the tailed beast, but why could he completely transform in just a few seconds? Could it be? Orochimaru, disguised as the cage, looked at Yagyu Tsuki in the distance below, and muttered with a hoarse smile, could it be Yagyu Tsuki's doing? Since Yagyu Tsuki can force Gaara to run away, it means that Yagyu Tsuki has the unique ability to completely control One-Tail Shukaku? But Yagyu Tsuki doesn't have Sharingan, so how can he control One-Tail Shukaku? Could it be the power of wood style? Interesting. Does wood style have any secrets that I haven't discovered? Orochimaru, disguised as the wind shadow, greedily looked at the calm and composed Yagyu Tsuki in the distance, licked the corner of his mouth and said hoarsely, "What a fascinating power. Ha 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 ha. The air outside is still comfortable, Lousy can finally leave the damn seal." Shukaku roared excitedly to the sky. Every movement of his huge body like a hill could cause violent tremors like an earthquake on the ground. It sprayed circular wind pressure from its mouth, destroying everything around it with a mentality of revenge. Boom! After Shukaku fully appeared, the whole village broke out into war. Fierce collisions could be seen everywhere. Hundreds of ninjas from Sand Shinobi Village and Sound Village appeared one after another and fought with the Konoha shinobi who had been ambushed. Shua! A mass of figures rushed into the examination hall. These ninjas who appeared one after another were all Auto Nin and Sand Shinobi ninjas. Might Guy, Kakashi, Asuma and other Jōnin reacted and immediately joined the battle at full speed. Ninjutsu. 4 Purple Flame Formation. 4 figures landed on the 3rd floor of the Chunin examination hall, standing in 4 directions to surround Sarutobi Hiruzen. The 4 Auto Nin quickly formed seals at the same time, and then all of them slapped their hands heavily on the ground. Ong! A dark purple barrier rose from the ground, surrounding the entire huge Hokage building, isolating Sarutobi Hiruzen and Orochimaru from the outside world. Long time no see, Teacher Sarutobi. Orochimaru tore off the leather-like face, revealing a pale, well-behaved woman's face, and even had a curvy figure. Yes, it was an old woman. He used his ability to possess a body and reincarnate, and possessed a woman with a unique bloodline limit. In his eyes, gender doesn't matter, as long as the ability is strong enough, anyone can be a container. Orochimaru, you said hello too late. Sarutobi Hiruzen was not surprised, took a deep puff of cigarette, exhaled a pale smoke, and looked deeply at Orochimaru who was using a woman's body. At this time, on the other side. Woman? The dead demon's hobby is quite unique. Yagyu Tsuki touched his chin and lightly hit Orochimaru in the barrier in the distance. To be honest, the dead demon possessed the body and transformed into a woman, which is still a bit perverted. Yagyu teacher. Uchiha Sasuke was about to say something. Work hard, you little brats. Yagyu picked up Uchiha Sasuke, and threw Sasuke to Shukaku in the distance, and then grabbed Naruto and little Sakura and threw them hard. 4 Red Yang. After throwing Team 7, Yagyu clasped his hands together, of Nori, and slapped them to the ground. Ong. A dark red energy wall rose from the ground, forming a huge square barrier, surrounding Team 7 and Gaara who had transformed into a tailed beast, isolating those ninjas who were going to attack Gaara. Yagyu glanced at the ninjas isolated outside by the barrier, and said lightly, "You bunch of trash, don't get in the way, let Team 7 enjoy the experience alone." Gaara, who has transformed into a tailed beast, is a very good experience pack. The 3 troublesome tools of Team 7 should be able to gain some points through this battle. If the experience pack Gaara is stopped by others, how can Team 7 help them gain benefits? So they must be separated by a barrier. There are too many people who can stop one-tail Shukaku from going berserk, whether it is the watermelon-headed Might Guy, or the dead-eyed Hitaki Kakashi, or the crazy woman Natsu. All of these people can successfully stop Shukaku from going berserk. Tsunade can knock Shukaku unconscious with a few punches, and especially after Might Guy opens the 7th door, he can kick Shukaku from the village to the outside of the village. 79. I fight the tailed beast? Really? Yagyu Tsuki put his hand to his mouth as a megaphone and shouted, "When you are about to die, remember to open the scroll I gave you." Tsunade glanced at Sarutobi Hiruzen who was fighting with Orochimaru, then glanced at Team 7 in the 4 Red Suns barrier, then frowned at Yagyu Tsuki and asked coldly, "Idiot, what are you doing?" The dead white-haired man actually ordered Team 7 to stop it. Shukaku, who had chakra beyond cage level, even used a super high-level barrier to divide the battlefield. Did he think Team 7 had lived too long? It was just sending Team 7 to die. Yagyu Tsuki waved his hand and said in a casual tone, "It's okay, it's okay. People are creatures that become stronger in despair, and you all think that the tailed beasts are too strong. The tailed beasts are just beasts with huge chakra. The tailed beasts have the highest chakra amount in the entire ninja world, but just having chakra doesn't mean much. Chakra amount is just a toy that can determine the upper limit, and can perfectly use its own chakra as the strong one, but all the tailed beasts can't use chakra properly." In his eyes, the tailed beasts are just beasts, almost no different from the summoning beasts. If you insist on talking about their value, they're just a mobile power bank. Moreover, he knows his limits. How could he let the tools of Team 7 die? After all, he still needs to exploit the tools to get rewards. He had previously given Team 7 a scroll, and Team 677 could summon him as long as he opened the scroll. So, it's harmless. Where are you going? Tsunade saw Yagyu Tsuki leaving. Dog Butcher, protect your sisters. Yagyu Tsuki smiled slightly, and then disappeared out of thin air. What do you mean? Tsunade frowned slightly. Dog Butcher. Protect the sisters? The sisters referred to Kurenai and Hinata, but why did the dead white-haired say they were my sisters? Is it because I am the oldest among them, or? The dead white-haired refers to the status of the sisters in the harem? It should be the latter. The damn white-haired girl actually wants to start a harem? Damn it. Yuhi Kurenai was still being carried by Tsunade, her limbs hanging in the air. She turned her head to look at Tsunade, who was thinking, and said awkwardly, "Tsunade-sama, can you please let me go?" Huh? Tsunade was slightly startled, looked at Yuhi Kurenai, who was being carried by her, and then looked at Hyuga Hinata, who was being held by her. Suddenly so many things happened, she completely ignored these two women. Tsunade let go of Kurenai and Hinata, coughed lightly and said awkwardly, "Ahem, gee. Don't pay too much attention to me. So annoying. The damn white-haired girl is really annoying. I am a powerful man who is one of the legendary Sannin, but now I have to be a nanny for the damn white-haired girl, and I have to protect the woman that the damn white-haired girl likes." Speechless. Just protect him once. Yuhi Kurenai was also embarrassed. What kind of a development is this? And Yagyu Tsuki said that he was going to kill the dog. Who was the dog? Ah. Kato Shizune sighed. Tsunade-sama failed to reconcile with Yagyu Tsuki, and now he has to protect these women who have a crush on Yagyu Tsuki. Tsunade-sama is so pitiful. Suddenly, Tsunade and Yuhi Kurenai's expressions changed drastically. They looked at each other at the same time and could see something in each other's eyes. Could it be that? Yuhi Kurenai and Tsunade said at the same time, "Shimura Danzo." Could it be that Yagyu Tsuki was going to take this opportunity to get rid of the leader of the machine, Shimura Danzo? Oh my god. This is serious. Hyuga Hinata raised her little face, looked at Yuhi Kurenai, who looked ugly, and asked in confusion, Hong teacher, what's wrong with Yagyu brother? No. Before Yuhi Kurenai finished speaking, a sharp cold light flashed by, and a masked Otoshi wielded a kunai and slashed at Hinata's neck at a very fast speed. Just now, all the enemies present were as agreed, and no one took the initiative to attack Hyuga Hinata and others, because just now Yagyu Tsuki was present. The ninja who was crowned as the strongest by the 5 major countries was present. Whoever dared to attack was tired of living. Yagyu Tsuki just stood there, which could deter all the enemies present. But, since Yagyu Tsuki left, then they could catch Hyuga Hinata and use Hinata to force the Hyuga clan to withdraw from the battlefield. Hinata. Yuhi Kurenai was startled, just when she was about to pull out the kunai to resist the attack. Get out of here, I don't have time to care about you idiots. Tsunade frowned, raised her hand and slapped the sound ninja's face. Pa. The crisp sound resounded throughout the venue. The sound ninja was slapped and flew far away, rolled on the ground for several times and then hit the wall heavily. He spit out a mouthful of scarlet blood, then his head tilted and he fainted. Let's go. Tsunade didn't even look at the sound ninja, frowned and hurriedly chased after Yagyu Tsuki. She didn't have time to deal with the sound ninjas, she just wanted to see what Yagyu Tsuki was doing. Where to go? Kato Shizune wondered. To find the dead white-haired, Tsunade said coldly. Yuhi Kurenai and Hyuga Hinata looked at Tsunade's heroic back and sighed in their hearts. What a strong woman. Ya, Chino, you follow the medical ninja to evacuate the crowd, the teacher has something to deal with here. Hyuga Kurenai glanced at Inuzuka Kiba and Aburame Shino, gave an order and quickly chased after Tsunade. Tsuki. Are you really going to get rid of the village leaders? If Shimura Danzo dies, the village structure will change drastically. I'll go too. Hyuga Hinata also chased after him. At this time, inside the 4 Red Suns barrier, the 3 members of Team 7 looked at One-Tail Shukaku in confusion, while One-Tail Shukaku also looked down at Team 7 in confusion. Huh? The expressions of the 3 members of Team 7 gradually changed from confusion to unbelievable faces, staring at One-Tail Shukaku's body like a small mountain. They thought that what Teacher Yagyu said was to stop the normal human-sized Gaara. But they never expected that what Teacher Yagyu ordered them to stop was the terrible monster with a body as huge as a mountain, and even stomping his feet could cause earthquake-like vibrations. How to fight this? I fight the tailed beast, really? Hey, are you kidding me? How can we stop this monster? Uzumaki Naruto's mouth twitched slightly, looking at the mountain like One-Tail Shukaku. A sense of crisis surged in his heart, and he secretly swallowed his saliva. Open black lens bracket 80 close black lens bracket Tensagan's breath of destruction. The whole village was in chaos and was divided into several battlefields. Orochimaru used Impure World Reincarnation to summon the 1st generation and the 2nd Hokage, who were suppressing Sarutobi Hiruzen the whole time. Team 7 and the others had no way to deal with One-Tail Shukaku for the time being, and even the Rasengan could not hurt Shukaku. Might Guy and Hitaki Kakashi and the others suppressed the Sound Village and the Sand Shinobi Village the whole time. At this time, the Hokage's office. The village is in turmoil now, and I will just wait quietly. After the war, I will blame Hiruzen for his mistakes, and I will take this opportunity to become the 5th Hokage. Shimura Danzo pushed open the door of the office, walked into the office slowly with a cane, and thought about things in his heart. He had always had a deal with Orochimaru before, and the two of them studied the secrets of Sharingan together, and this time Orochimaru's plan to invade the village had his Shimura Danzo's contribution. He deliberately leaked secrets and deliberately let Orochimaru invade the village, hoping to use this opportunity to completely eliminate Sarutobi Hiruzen and become the 5th Hokage of the village. Even if he couldn't eliminate Sarutobi Hiruzen, he could blame Hiruzen for the war and force Sarutobi Hiruzen to resign as the third Hokage. No matter what, this time, the position of Hokage is determined to be won. When Shimura Danzo walked into the office, he saw Yagyu Tsuki sitting on the Hokage chair. He narrowed his only exposed eyes slightly, and a trace of dangerous coldness flashed in his eyes. Yagyu Tsuki. What's the meaning of Hokage? Don't tell me that becoming a Hokage is your dream. There is no need for you to pursue your dream passionately, but no matter what, power is a very desirable thing. Yagyu Tsuki crossed his hands and rested his chin, looking at Shimura Danzo standing at the door indifferently, and said, "Would you like to try it? The commander's posture is quite comfortable." The reason why Danzo Old Dog is crazy about Hokage should be a kind of obsession with his past weakness, or it should be said that he wants to completely defeat Sarutobi Hiruzen 10 times. Danzo Old Dog becomes Hokage to protect the village? Nonsense. What can this stinky old man protect? He runs faster than a dog when something goes wrong. In the past, when the second Hokage encountered a crisis, the courage of Sarutobi Hiruzen and Danzo was tested, but Danzo retreated in fear when facing death, while Sarutobi Hiruzen stepped forward without hesitation. Therefore, Senju Tobarama safely handed over the Hokage to Sarutobi, while Shimura Danzo missed the opportunity to become the Hokage. Perhaps it was because of this that he developed 10 kinds of obsessions like demons. Anyway, it doesn't matter. The old man's thoughts are not that important. Why did you appear here during the village war? Shimura Danzo questioned. He slowly untied the bandage wrapped around his right arm, revealing a pale right arm that exuded vitality, and a large row of Sharingan embedded on his right arm. He was very smart and naturally knew the purpose of Yagyu Tsuki's appearance here, which was nothing more than taking this opportunity to get rid of him. Waiting for you. It's rare for me to be interested in a date with an old man. Don't let me down for the gift I carefully prepared for you. Yagyu Tsuki sipped the lollipop in his mouth and looked at the Sharingan on Shimura Danzo's right arm. You want it, my power. If the Uchiha kid saw the right arm of the old dog Danzo, he would be so angry that he would faint on the spot and pinch his philtrum. Yagyu Tsuki said, I'll give you a chance, try your best to get me. I don't plan to let you fall asleep easily tonight. Stinky kid, you underestimate me too much. Since you took the initiative to deliver yourself to my door, I will take this opportunity to occupy your blood limit. Shimura Danzo made a seal with one hand, and a Sharingan on his right arm condensed, and his whole body exuded a huge pupil power. Since we are all taking this opportunity, let's just start the game. Yagyu Yu's smile gradually became cold and cruel. He bit the candy in his mouth hard, his eyes turned into light blue tensigan with silver mist, and a strong chakra burst out from his body. This chakra contained the ultimate destructive power. Boom boom. A fierce wind like a blade blew, and the shaking ground cracked like an earthquake. In an instant, the entire Hokage building was directly reduced to ashes, turned into a stone wasteland with 10 minister-shaped pits. This attack that instantly destroyed the entire Hokage building attracted the attention of almost all the strong men in the village. Even Orochimaru and others who were fighting were attracted by Yagyu Yu's chakra. Whose chakra is this? It feels very similar to Yagyu Tsuki's aura. Sarutobi Hiruzen blocked the kick of the Impure World second generation, and then suddenly turned back to look at the giant pit in the distance. He just felt a chakra full of destructive power, and this chakra alone has surpassed the cage level. And that chakra feels like the chakra used by Yagyu Tsuki, but it is different from the chakra that Yagyu Tsuki usually uses. 0. Please give me flowers. Could it be someone else? The most important thing is, the owner of that chakra that exceeds the cage level seems to be fighting with someone at this time. Who is he fighting? Sarutobi teacher, you are still so naive that you actually look around during the battle. Orochimaru controlled the Impure World first generation, I'm your world first generation, and kicked Sarutobi Hiruzen away with a kick. He also wondered who the owner of that chakra full of ultimate destructive power, which was above all things, was. Could it be Yagyu Tsuki? How is it possible? Although Yagyu Tsuki has a huge chakra, even beyond the level of the tailed beasts, it is not as terrible as the destructive chakra just now, and the most important thing is that Yagyu Tsuki's chakra is full of vitality, and it is the chakra of the wood-style Kekkei Genkei. 0. The destructive chakra just now is exactly the opposite of Yagyu Tsuki's aura. Could it be someone from the Akatsuki organization? It is very likely. The destructive chakra just now is very similar to the chakra of Akatsuki leader Pain. Sarutobi Hiruzen must be dealt with as soon as possible. If the owner of that chakra is really Pain, then things will become very troublesome. At this time, the street. What is this? Tsunade paused suddenly, and because of her sudden pause, the giant rue on her chest trembled slightly. Even she looked at the distance in amazement, the huge pit wasteland hundreds of feet long. She just felt a huge and terrifying chakra full of ultimate destruction. The feeling was like the feeling when she first saw Nagato Rinnegan a long time ago. She knew that the owner of this chakra of destruction was definitely not Yagyu Tsuki, because the chakra of Shimura was a life force very similar to that of his grandfather. Whose chakra was that just now? Could it be Shimura Danzo? Very likely, although she had never seen Danzo take action, since Danzo was the leader of Anbu Root, he should have some very powerful trump cards. If that was the case, then Shimura would be in danger, because the chakra just now full of destructive power was much more powerful than the chakra that Shimura had exploded in the Land of Waves. 81. Yagyu Tsuki's strength. Danzo was stunned. Yuhi Kurenai looked solemn, looking at the giant pit in the distance, and asked, Tsunade-sama, do you know who that person is? Tsunade frowned slightly and said in a deep voice, this is also the first time I have seen this kind of chakra. It is very likely the ability of Shimura Danzo. It should be Brother Yagyu, right? Hyuga Hinata whispered, but unfortunately no one heard her mosquito-like voice. Although she did not understand as much as everyone else how outrageous the destructive chakra was, but when she was doing something with Yagyu Tsuki yesterday, she felt a breath very similar to the chakra just now. So the owner of the chakra that everyone is talking about should be Brother Yagyu, right? But the feeling of this chakra is very similar to the chakra when using the Byakugan. Kato Shizune asked, Master Tsunade, what should we do now? 943. Tsunade hesitated for a moment and said, go and have a look. If that chakra is really the ability of Shimura Danzo, the dead white-haired man is very likely to be in danger now, and he may even lose to Shimura Danzo. The dead white-haired man has not paid the price for what happened that night, so how can you watch the dead white-haired man lose to Danzo? Trouble. Very troublesome. Why did the dead white-haired man go to solve Shimura Danzo for no reason, and now he is directly in danger? To be honest, he will definitely lose against that chakra, but no matter what, it is better for two people to work together than for the dead white-haired man to mess around alone. All the ninjas in the whole village, especially Jōnin and above, can clearly sense the chakra just now. Some people think it was Orochimaru's trick, some people think it was the leader of Akatsuki, Pain, and some people think it was the ability of Shimura Danzo. But no one thought it was Yagyu Tsuki's chakra, because almost everyone in the village had felt Yagyu Tsuki's chakra, and Yagyu Tsuki's chakra contained life force. And the chakra just now was full of absolutely violent destructive force, so how could it be Yagyu Tsuki's chakra? At this time, in the pit. The moon. Why can I see the moon? Because I'm lying on my back. Then why am I lying on the ground? Why was I knocked out when I have Izanagi, that stinky kid? Just now in front of me, when? No, I should ask him what he did just now. What's going on? It hurts. I actually feel pain. I obviously opened Izanagi. Why didn't I change my fate of being seriously injured? What happened? Shimura Danzo lay on the ground with blood all over his body, staring blankly at the clear moon in the sky. He felt the pain in his whole body that shook his brain, and a sense of confusion gradually surged in his heart. Izanagi can change the experience of serious injury and death. I clearly activated Izanagi before the battle. But now he is seriously injured and lying in a pool of blood. Why didn't Izanagi activate and change his fate of being seriously injured by Yagyu Tsuki? What happened? What did Yagyu Tsuki do in the moment just now? What is that chakra full of destructive power, and what are those light blue eyes with silver mist? Does Yagyu Tsuki have some abilities that I didn't know from the intelligence? Stinky old man, when did you start to have the illusion of activating Izanagi? Yagyu Tsuki sat on the stone, looking down at Shimura Danzo indifferently and proudly, pinching his chin and sneering, hee. Using Sharingan as a substitute, you are really an unprecedented ninja. Illusion. Shimura Danzo staggered to his feet, staring at Yagyu Tsuki's arm with an ugly expression. The pale arm covered with Sharingan was exactly his Danzo's arm. My hand. How is it possible? Shimura Danzo suddenly raised his left hand and touched the empty shoulder on his right. When he didn't touch anything, he suddenly turned his head and found that his right arm full of Sharingan had disappeared. What is going on? What does illusion mean? Illusion. I was actually trapped by an illusion. Shimura Danzo's pupils shrank. Could it be that he was cast into an illusion by Yagyu Tsuki the moment he walked into the office? But he has Shisui's eyes. How could he be trapped in Yagyu Tsuki's illusion? Could it be that? Shimura Danzo suddenly raised his head and looked up at Yagyu Tsuki, who was sitting on the stone, staring at Yagyu Tsuki's light blue Tensigan Zero. Could it be that Yagyu Tsuki's strange eyes are pupil skills, and they also have pupil power that is enough to crush Shisui's eyes? Shimura Danzo asked in a deep voice, what are your eyes? You seem to understand something, although there are some deviations, but you are still quite smart. Yagyu Tsuki played with his arms inlaid with Sharingan. He did not give Danzo the old dog any broken illusions. But he rewrote Danzo's cognition for a moment. One of his Tensigan abilities is to rewrite other people's cognition, although it is a short-term effect, and it is impossible to completely rewrite a person's cognition. But at least it can influence the battle situation. In the moment when Danzo opened Izanagi, he rewrote Danzo's cognition, making Danzo mistakenly think that Izanagi was opened. Although Danzo is very weak in his eyes, it is still quite troublesome to be able to revive 10 times, so cut off first. Danzo's arm is fine to play with slowly. Shimura Danzo said in a deep voice, your eyes give me a feeling that is very similar to the Byakugan of the Hyuga clan. There is no need to doubt. With your weak capacity, you can't understand my eyes. Lu Shungyue said proudly. Don't say that old dog Danzo can't understand Tensigan. Currently, no one in the ninja world has seen Tensigan, because this is a power that transcends the current ninja world by a dimension. It is the power of 6 paths, which is as famous as Rinnegan. You wimps are at least cage level. 0.7 Losing an arm doesn't need to lose your fighting spirit. Try harder to please me. Lu Shengyu's sarcastic smile gave people a feeling of arrogance. Arrogant brat, no matter how strong the power is, I will use it. When I become the 5th Hokage, you will be my right-hand man. Shimura Danzo untied the bandage on his right eye, and then slapped the ground with his hand dipped in blood. Summoning technique. Bang! Pale smoke rose from the ground, rolling and surging to cover the pit, and a large orange mammoth ran out of the white smoke. Summoning beast. Dream taper. Such a simple move, you are already behind the times. Lu Shengyue looked at the approaching mammoth proudly, and slowly put his hands together. Don't say I'm bullying you, you are at least cage level. Silver wheel rebirth explosion. Open black lens bracket 82 close black lens bracket lightning style, Kilin. Ong. Several super large tornadoes rose from the ground, sucking everything in the venue into the eye of the wind, and then cut those things like a meat grinder. The super large orange mammoth was directly cut into countless pieces, and then turned into a cloud of white smoke and disappeared out of thin air. Several tornadoes emitting destructive power besieged Shimura Danzo from 4 directions at a very fast speed. Wind style. Such a terrible power. Shimura Danzo had a solemn expression, and condensed chakra on the soles of his feet and stuck it to his face to prevent being sucked into the eye of the wind by the wind pressure of the tornado. He saw that the summoning beast was instantly killed by the tornado, and glanced at the white Sharingan arm that Yagyu was playing with. Damn it. I am a Grandmaster Wind Style ninja, so I can see how terrible the wind style used by Yagyu Tsuki is. It is an S-level wind style that combines form change and nature transformation. If the Sharingan arm is still there is no need to care about this terrible wind style, and I can even ignore the wind style and attack directly from the front. But the problem is, now that I don't have the Sharingan arm, I can't use Izanagi to rewrite my fate. If I am swallowed by the tornado, I am afraid I will be rolled into a pulp in an instant. Shimura Danzo looked at the infinitely approaching tornado. He knew that he had no choice to retreat now. As long as he released the chakra condensed on the soles of his feet and retreated, he would definitely be sucked into the eye of the tornado, so he could only resist the tornado from the front. Shimura Danzo touched his right eye. Was he going to use Shisui's eye to use Izanagi? How is that possible? This is his trump card, used to control Yagyu Tsuki to help me become the Hokage. Although it will consume a lot of chakra, that's the only move he can use for now. Wood-style thrusting spear. Shimura Danzo burst out all his chakra, and hard vines emerged from his right shoulder. All the vines condensed together to form a big tree, and he was protected in the middle by the tree as hard as steel. Boom boom. Several tornadoes engulfed the big tree, and the airflow rolled up the dust on the ground, forming a thick haze like smoke, making it impossible to see the situation inside. Sitting on the top of the stone, Lu Shengyue looked down at the area covered by gray smoke with his hands on his face, and said speechlessly, "Pathetic ability, shameful trick. Your move seems to consume a lot of chakra. I just hit it casually, can you not defend so desperately? It seems like I am bullying you, to be honest." A little speechless. I did hit it casually, because I was in the mentality of testing my ability. I only used the lowest level of Tensigen ability, and I haven't used the real power of Tensigen yet. And even with my subsequent attack, Danzo the old dog has already started to defend with all his strength. The gap in strength is too big, how can I play this? Are cage level strongmen so weak? I used to think that ordinary cage levels could play for a while, but now they can be killed by just a casual play? But it's normal. Danzo is not as strong as Sarutobi Hiruzen, and Sarutobi Hiruzen has already degenerated to a weak cage level. Danzo is only an elite Jōnin at the moment. He needs to have a full arm of Sharingan to barely reach a weak cage level in terms of strength. Danzo was quite strong when he was young, but he has become weaker since he studied Sharingan, although Sharingan is the highest Kekkei Genkai. But without the bloodline of the Uchiha clan, it is difficult to control the consumption of Sharingan, and it is difficult to exert the true power of Sharingan. He can't even turn off Sharingan, which means he consumes chakra all the time. And Danzo, this stupid bird, directly put on an arm of Sharingan. If there is no restraining power of first-generation cells, Danzo would have been drained by Sharingan long ago. An ordinary Sharingan with an arm is not as useful as a Mangekyo. If you put on an arm of Mangekyo Sharingan, it's okay, but you put on an ordinary Sharingan with an arm, which is meaningless and has to bear huge consumption. He even relies on Izanagi and uses Izanagi as a substitute. Is he sick in the head? If Danzo had continued to study wind style, he would have been at least a strong cage level now, but it was a pity that Danzo wasted his wind style talent. Huh. You can actually force me to this point. You are indeed the strongest ninja I have ever seen. Shimura Danzo climbed up from the pool of blood, with many knife-like wounds all over his body, and scarlet blood was flowing out of the wounds. He held a kunai in his hand and stared at Yagyu Tsuki with an ugly expression. The wood style he just used almost consumed nearly half of his chakra, but it also defended against the destructive tornado. Yagyu Tsuki pinched his chin, looked down at Shimura Danzo indifferently and proudly, and the corners of his mouth slightly raised showed a sense of sarcasm, saying, "You are a waste who doesn't even understand what power is, and you still fantasize about becoming a Hokage all day long, blindly pursuing power beyond your own ability. You are really a pathetic old man who makes me pity you." Danzo old dog really didn't understand what power is, and he was blindly pursuing the back of the former strong man. Sharingan is very strong, and the power of wood style is also very strong. Combining the two can make you strong. Wrong. On the contrary, you will become weaker. Uchiha Madara can open Rinnegan after combining the two because Madara has bloodline, and Uchiha Obito can increase his own chakra and life after injecting first-generation cells because Uchiha Obito also has bloodline. The bloodline of the Uchiha clan is perfectly compatible with first-generation cells. But Shimura Danzo has no bloodline at all, and combining the two will only make him weaker. Arrogant brat, I am the best candidate for the 333rd Hokage of Hokage. No one is more suitable to be the Hokage than me. Only I can protect this village. Shimura Danzo was very excited and spit out a gust of wind towards the kunai. The gust of wind wrapped around the kunai and turned into a wind blade. Wind-style vacuum sword. Shimura Danzo suddenly jumped up and slashed at Yagyu Tsuki's neck with the wind blade. If he persisted for a while, the Anbu route should arrive here. When the route arrives, even Yagyu Tsuki will definitely lose. 2 fists cannot defeat 4 hands. Even Yagyu couldn't resist the full-strength siege of nearly hundreds of Anbu-gen ninjas, not to mention that there are many bloodline limit ninjas in Anbu-gen. Although I really want to test my new power, it's useless to test it with a waste like you. I'll just use a blow within the range of ordinary ninjas to kill you in case you say I'm bullying you. A pale blue electric current emerged from Yagyu's palm. He really wanted to show off the ability of Tenseigan immediately, but the strength of old dog Danzo was weaker than imagined. Testing the ability with such a waste weakling couldn't test anything. It's like an elephant stepping on an ant to death. Can this show how strong the elephant is? Kilin. Yagyu waved his hand covered with electric current. Boom boom. Black clouds covered the sky, blue lightning flashed between the clouds, and the deafening thunder roared through the sky. The sky lightning turned into a blue Kilin, and then fell towards Shimura Danzo at supersonic speed. Open black lens bracket 83 close black lens bracket Danzo died in battle and his right eye was gouged out. The deafening thunder penetrated the sky, and everyone in the distance could catch a glimpse of the blue lightning falling to the ground in an instant. But everyone's thinking speed was not as fast as the lightning. Before everyone could react, the Kilin formed by lightning had already swallowed Danzo. Boom boom. The thunder fell to the ground, and the entire pit wasteland flashed with dazzling lightning. As the lightning dissipated, the scorched land was exposed. This area seemed to have been burned by a fire, and large areas of burnt black land could be seen everywhere. Shimura Danzo was struck by lightning and turned black. He lay on the ground with thick black smoke all over his body, and there was a faint current on the surface of his skin. This is the real lightning. With your capacity, you should not be able to understand this lightning style that can control the weather level. Yagyu put the arm covered with Sharingan into the storage space of time and space, then jumped from the top of the stone and landed on the ground, smiling faintly towards the Shimura Danzo who was scorched by lightning. Although it is meaningless to keep the Sharingan, it is a pity to destroy so many Sharingans, and they may be used in the future. So let's keep it for now. Although Kirin is the strongest lightning style, it is not that strong in the eyes of the top masters. The real top masters are the ones who are cheating in the bloodline limit war. Even if they use the strongest lightning style, it is still a bit embarrassing. But it is still a very interesting move, and it is very cool and a magical skill to bully weaklings. I will accept your right eye with a smile. Compared with controlling others to become Hokage, I will use it in more interesting places. Yagyu Tsuki grabbed Shimura Danzo's hair, lifted up Shimura Danzo's burnt face, and then raised his hand to dig into the Sharingan in Danzo's eye socket. Hypnosis brainwashing is such a top-notch ability, it is a waste to use it to control others to become Hokage. A real man should use hypnosis brainwashing ability to control those self-righteous enemies. When I meet Konan in the future, I will directly give Konan a distinguished heavenly gods. Something interesting should happen. I didn't expect you to be so strong. If I had your ability, I should be able to become Hokage as I wish. Shimura Danzo's burnt lips moved slightly and made a hoarse sound. Yagyu Tsuki was surprised. Are you still alive? You are really tenacious. Is this eye your goal? I will take it with me when I die, at least to prevent you from using this eye to harm the village. Shimura Danzo burst out all his chakra, and a strange black rune appeared on his chest, and a large amount of dark blood spurted out of the rune. Inner 4 symbols seal. The black blood sprayed on the ground, and all the places that were stuck by the black blood sank into the black blood, and Shimura Danzo was also gradually sinking into the pool of blood. The Inner 4 symbols seal is a domineering ability that can absorb everything around into a strange space. He had already applied this seal on himself to prevent the enemy from getting Shisui's eyes after dying in battle. Are you planning to die with your eyes? You are really lonely enough. Yagyu Tsuki ignored the dark blood on the ground, and easily dug out Danzo's right eye, then jumped back and landed in the distance. A meaningless struggle. How can a seal of that level move me? If you want to die, just die by yourself, stinky old man. Yagyu Tsuki took out a lollipop, unwrapped it and put it into his mouth, sipping it lightly, looking at Danzo who was gradually sinking into the black blood. After he opened the Tensigen, he could ignore all low-level seals. If he wanted to seal him, he had to use at least the same level of seal as the one that sealed Kaguya. You can actually ignore the seal. Shimura Danzo gradually lost consciousness. He was already on the verge of death when he was swallowed by the Kirin. Now he was just breathing with a strong will. Hiruzen. I have never been able to become Hokage, and I have never been able to catch up with you. You are a leaf bathed in the sun, and I am a root buried in the soil. If I could muster up the courage during the second generation test, I might be the one to become Hokage. Shimura Danzo was completely swallowed by the black blood, and the whole person seemed to disappear out of thin air, leaving only a large pool of scarlet blood on the ground. Shimura Danzo died in battle. Yagyu Tsuki put Shisui's right eye into the bottle, then put the bottle into his jacket pocket, and then stretched as if he had just finished overtime. It's done, it's time to call it a day. Although he failed to test the power of Tensigen, he got the ability of hypnosis anyway. He will wait until he meets a capable ninja in the future to test the full power of Tensigen. After the two stinky old men Sarutobi and Danzo died in the battle, Shie Itachi should return to the village once, right? After all, Uchiha Itachi, that beast, really likes this broken village. He can even kill his parents to protect the village. What a beast. But in any case, it's a good thing that Uchiha Itachi sneaked into the village. He can take this opportunity to use Itachi and Kisame to test the real six paths power of Tensigen. Tsunade and others fell into the charred pit, looking at Yagyu Tsuki's back as he was about to leave, and several women shouted at the same time. Shit white hair. Yagyu brother. Yagyu. They were full of doubts now. Where did Shimura Danzo go? Why was there only Yagyu Tsuki present? Has Danzo been dealt with by Yagyu Tsuki? And who was the owner of the chakra that was full of destructive power just now? Yagyu Tsuki paused, turned around and looked at the hurried Tsunade and others, raised his hand and smiled and greeted, Za. Harem army. What a good picture. Tsunade frowned slightly, glared at Yagyu Tsuki unhappily, and asked anxiously, Hey, where is Shimura Danzo? Yagyu Tsuki kicked the crutch at his feet to Tsunade's feet, smiled faintly and said, Danzo is dead, I can only find these few relics from the dead. Everyone in the audience looked at the crutch on the ground, everyone showed a strange expression, and they felt speechless, Deshazi, in their hearts. 2. Dead? Shimura Danzo is dead? Yagyu Tsuki said it so lightly. You know, Shimura Danzo is the leader of the largest Anbu organization in the village, but Yagyu Tsuki just said it lightly, saying Shimura Danzo is dead? And, he seems to be in a good mood now. Tsunade glanced at the scorched ground and was slightly startled when he saw a large piece of dark blood. The blood seemed to contain a very scary chakra. Then he looked at Yagyu Tsuki who was unharmed and asked hesitantly, Are you okay? Whether it was the scorched land or the large piece of black blood, it meant that a fierce battle had taken place here in a short period of time. Yagyu Tsuki walked in front of Tsunade, touched his chin and looked at Tsunade lightly. After a moment, he asked curiously, Are you worried about me? Tsunade's fair and delicate face blushed slightly, and he turned his head away and said coldly, Who cares if you live or die? Open black lens bracket 84 close black lens bracket legendary eyes. Shimura Danzo. Is he really dead? Yuhi Kurenai asked hesitantly. It had only been 2 minutes since Yagyu Tsuki left the Chunin selection exam venue. In just 2 minutes, Yagyu Tsuki had solved Shimura Danzo. Ah, this? Is it that outrageous? Yagyu Tsuki affirmed, he's dead. Yuhi Kurenai complained a little speechlessly, it's only been 2 minutes. It didn't even take 2 minutes to solve a cage-level strongman in 2 minutes, because these 2 minutes also counted the time Yagyu Tsuki took to go find Shimura Danzo. In other words, Yagyu Tsuki was very likely to have solved Shimura Danzo directly within 1 minute. Is it really that outrageous? Winning or losing is a matter of a moment. When I'm serious, I'm still quite good at killing people in seconds. Lu Shunyue touched Yuhi Kurenai's head and said with a faint smile, Seeing how hard I work, Sister Honghong, please reward me tonight. Dealing with Danzo is a matter of one move in seconds. If I can fight a piece of trash like Danzo for several rounds, then my Tensagen's 6 paths power will probably cry. After losing his Sharingan arm, Danzo is just a piece of trash who can only stand and output. If he is replaced with a mechanical ability like Obito, it will be more or less a bit troublesome. Yuhi Kurenai tapped 717's shin with her finger and said with a gentle smile, If the reward you mean is cooking, then I can cook a big meal as a reward for you. Tsunade looked at Yuhi Kurenai strangely. She found that after Lu Shunyue said the teasing remark, Yuhi Kurenai seemed a little shy at that moment. Strange. Kurenai Yuhi's reaction was very strange, like a girl who had just fallen in love. Didn't Shiraki and Kurenai Yuhi have anything going on? Shiraki and Kurenai Yuhi were childhood sweethearts, but nothing happened between them. And Shiraki took the initiative to find me that night. Meaning, compared with women like Kurenai Yuhi, does Shiraki want to have something happen with me more? It makes sense. But, I think I'm overthinking it a bit. Hyuga Hinata gently pulled the corner of Kurenai Yuhi's clothes and whispered softly, Can you take me with you? I also want to go to teacher Kurenai's house. It's a lie. It's too dangerous to be alone with a man and a woman. How could she let her boyfriend, who she thinks of, be alone with another woman in a room all night? Of course. Kurenai Yuhi touched Hinata's head and sighed secretly in her heart. Hinata is also very close to me, Ade, so cute. Kato Shizune stared at everyone in silence, and finally sighed silently. What the hell? We just dealt with Shimura Danzo, why is the atmosphere so relaxed? Yagyu Tsuki's relaxed and indifferent attitude is like she just slapped a mosquito to death. And what the hell is Tsunade-sama doing, actually letting her ex-boyfriend who she thinks about day and night to flirt with other women? Has Tsunade-sama compromised, and Yagyu Tsuki can have many girlfriends at the same time? Tsunade asked in confusion, who was that chakra just now? Yagyu Tsuki asked curiously, what chakra? Tsunade said, the chakra that exceeds the shadow. Everyone in the audience stared at Yagyu Tsuki. They also wanted to know who the chakra that was full of destructive aura just now belonged to. Could it be Shimura Danzo's chakra? How is that possible? The chakra just now was stronger than Yagyu Tsuki. If the owner of that chakra was Shimura Danzo, how could Shimura Danzo be killed by Yagyu Tsuki in seconds? Could it be that there is another enemy? Yes, it's Yagyu brother. Hyuga Hinata whispered, but unfortunately everyone's attention was on Yagyu Tsuki, and no one heard her mosquito-like whispering. You are talking about this chakra, right? Yagyu Tsuki's eyes turned pale blue, with some silver-white mist in his pupils, and his whole body exuded a chakra full of destructive aura. Ong. As Yagyu Tsuki used Tensigen, the terrible aura of destruction covered the entire venue. Although there was no malice in this chakra, it still made everyone in the audience feel a sense of crisis. The chakra of Yagyu Yu, which is above everything in the universe, has completely exceeded the scope of contemporary cage-level masters, and even exceeded the concept of contemporary ninjas. Are your eyes a bloodline limit? Tsunade looked solemn, staring at Yagyu Yu's pale blue eyes. She had seen Yagyu Yu use this strange eye before Gaara went berserk. It should be a bloodline limit similar to Sharingan, right? But the question is, the bloodline limit of Shibai Mao is the power of wood style, plus the strange field bloodline limit, and Shibai Mao's strange eyes, could it be the third bloodline limit? The owner of 3 bloodline limits? Unprecedented? Yagyu Yu put away the Tensigen and said, wrong answer, it's a bloodline net, and you will be punished to kneel on the washboard tonight. I didn't bet with you, Tsunade said speechlessly. She didn't bet with Yagyu Yu, and Yagyu Yu was playing a punishment game on her own. Yagyu Tsuki waved his hand and said, there's no need to be curious. With your knowledge, you can't understand this power. It's enough to know that I'm strong. He didn't deliberately mock Tsunade and others. He just told the truth. Because the history of the ninja world has not recorded the legend of Tensigen, Tensigen is another dimensional power beyond the current scope of the ninja world. Tsunade pointed at Yagyu Tsuki, turned his head to look at Yuhi Kurenai, and asked, can I beat him? We can't understand. Knowing that he's strong is enough. The damn white-haired man really deserves a beating. What are you pretending for? No matter how strong the dead white-haired man is, didn't he still lie on me obediently that night? Damn, what am I thinking? Just get used to it. Yuhi Kurenai shrugged. She had long been accustomed to Yagyu Tsuki showing off her strength. She used to show off her strength to her almost every day. Immune. Yagyu Tsuki raised a finger and explained, if you must say, it is an eye that is as famous as the real Rinnegan. It is definitely not a pirated product like Uzumaki Nagato, but the power of the real Rinnegan. The Rinnegan used by Uzumaki Nagato is a pirated one. Nagato cannot use the real power of the Rinnegan because the Rinnegan is the eyes of Uchiha Madara. Nagato can only use the basic power of the Rinnegan. For abilities such as Tengai Shinsei and Wheelgrave Prison, Nagato cannot use any of them. Rinnegan. Everyone in the audience was slightly stunned. Yagyu Tsuki said that his eyes were as famous as the Rinnegan. Rinnegan is the eye of the legendary sage of 6 paths. Could it be that Yagyu Tsuki's eyes are also the legendary power of creation? The chakra that Yagyu Tsuki just emitted seemed to be a power that surpassed everything in the universe. It might really be the top power of the legendary level. But the problem is, Yagyu Tsuki actually has this trick up his sleeve. Is there no limit to this guy's strength? Open black lens bracket 85 close black lens bracket tailed beast bomb. Ding, 15 growth points are gained, and the current growth value is bronze, 100 points. Since 100 points have been reached, the sign in reward is upgraded to an advanced level. The current points are silver, 0 points. The clear and pleasant female voice of the system sounded in Lu Shangyu's mind. The tools seem to have changed. Has the Uchiha Kid opened the 3 Magatama? Lu Shangyue sipped the candy in his mouth and glanced at the dark red 4-red sun barrier in the distance. Since he opened the Tensigen, he can clearly sense the so-called pupil power. The pupil power of the Uchiha Kid is obviously stronger than before, so these 15 points should be the points obtained after Sasuke Sharingan was upgraded. Lu Shangyu's mouth corner slightly raised, very good. Stinky tools, keep working hard, don't let the teacher down. Immortality is just around the corner. Yuhi Kurenai looked at Yagyu Tsuki, who seemed to be thinking about something, and called out with a puzzled look on her pretty face, "Yagyu." Yagyu Tsuki sensed the application for reverse summoning, and flicked Yuhi Kurenai's forehead, and smiled faintly. "Disband, disband, you can move freely, the strong have a lot of things to do. I appreciate your kindness, but don't think that helping me will only cause trouble, just do what you can do." As soon as the voice fell, Yagyu Tsuki disappeared out of thin air. Everyone in the audience was speechless. Yagyu Tsuki's way of speaking gave people the feeling that they were sightseeing in the battlefield. Okay. In fact, think about it. At first, I wanted to help Yagyu Tsuki, and then after rushing here, I found that Yagyu Tsuki had easily solved Shimura Danzo, and it was indeed like sightseeing without any help. Shizune, go to the hospital to help the wounded, I'll go to 3rd Hokage. Sarutobi teacher. After Tsunade finished speaking, he quickly went to Sarutobi Hiruzen to see if there was any way to remove the barrier. After all, no matter what, Sarutobi Hiruzen is the former teacher. At this time, inside the 4 Red Yang barrier, no matter how Team 7 attacks, they can't hurt Shukaku at all, because Shukaku is now in a completely tailed beast form, which is a world of difference from Gaara falling asleep and waking up Shukaku. The reason why Shukaku is in a completely tailed beast form is because Yagyu Tsuki used the power of Tensigen to forcibly wake up Shukaku, who was sleeping in the seal. Because of the forced awakening of the Tensigen, Shukaku is not a fake Jinchuriki form at this time, but a tailed beast that can destroy a country in the true sense. Rasengan. Uzumaki Naruto's dozen shadow clone used Rasengan at the same time, attacking 10-tailed Shukaku in an all-round way without blind spots. Uchiha Sasuke saw Uzumaki Naruto's mindless attack, and cursed inwardly with an ugly expression, "Super idiot." Rasengan can't hurt Shukaku at all, even if Naruto, the idiot, uses shadow clone to attack infinitely, he can't damage Shukaku's skin as hard as steel. Facing an enemy of this level, mindless attack is definitely meaningless, but since Yagyu teacher asked Team 7 to stop Shukaku, there must be some solution. Damn it. Think about it quickly, Yagyu teacher asked us to stop Shukaku. Ong. One-tail Shukaku raised its dragon-like tail, and as the tail was raised, a strong airflow was generated. The airflow contained destructive chakra, which directly tore the ground, causing a terrible scene like an earthquake. Just by raising the tail, it can cause a destructive scene. A-hole. Look at me using Rasengan to hit you. A dozen whirlpools. Naruto's shadow clone did not retreat, but attacked Shukaku at a faster speed. Retreat. Plan. Just do it, idiot, that tail is weird. Uchiha Sasuke used 3 Tomo Sharingan to stare at Shukaku's slowly raised tail, and a sense of crisis-like fear surged in his heart. If he was hit by that tail, he would almost certainly die. Boom. Shukaku whipped Naruto with his tail. The wind pressure generated by the tail was like a super high-level powerful wind style, which directly blew away all of Naruto's shadow clone, and Naruto was slapped away by the tail. Bang! Naruto was slapped far away and hit the wall of the barrier hard. A large piece of scarlet blood spit out of his mouth, and then he fell heavily into the stone waste area. Naruto, Haruno Sakura and Sasuke looked ugly. With the current strength of Team 7, let alone stopping Shukaku, even the 3 of them couldn't hurt Shukaku with all their strength, and if they were hit by Shukaku's tail, they would be seriously injured at least. Zero, please give me flowers. Zero. How to fight this? You. Are you the same as me? Uzumaki Naruto pushed away the rocks and staggered up from the wasteland. His body was covered with scarlet blood, and he stared at the hill like Shukaku with a serious expression. Huh. Haruno Sakura and Sasuke saw that Uzumaki Naruto was still alive, and they both secretly breathed a sigh of relief. Even Uchiha Sasuke didn't realize that he was actually worried about Uzumaki Naruto. Haruno Sakura looked at Naruto, who was standing steadily with blood all over his body, and secretly sighed in his heart. Naruto. Really tough. Still alive. One-tail Shukaku moved his chubby body and looked at the shaky Uzumaki Naruto. It had whipped Uzumaki Naruto with its tail 3 times, and each time Uzumaki Naruto could firmly get up and then muster up the courage to launch a reckless attack on it. One-tail Shukaku pondered, is this kid 9 Tails Jinchuriki? It feels like I have seen him somewhere. It seems like I have seen him, but it also seems like I haven't seen him. He should have seen him, and it was during the Sage of 6 Paths era, when he saw someone who looked very similar to Uzumaki Naruto. Who is it? Hey, stinky raccoon cat, I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to that guy. Uzumaki Naruto wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. He just resonated with Gaara for a moment and saw the scene in Gaara's memory. Gaara has been regarded as a monster since he was a child, and he has seen the experience of looking like himself. Raccoon cat? You are as annoying as that dead fox. Shukaku was stunned for a moment, and a trace of anger flashed in his light golden animal eyes, and a huge amount of chakra burst out of his body, which has completely surpassed the ordinary cage level. It hates people calling it a raccoon cat the most. Tailed Beast Bomb. Shukaku condensed dark chakra in his mouth, and the chakra turned into a ball of energy, which was filled with a destructive aura. With it as the core, a strong wind was generated, blowing away everything on the ground around him. Tailed Beast Bomb. One of the strongest moves of all tailed beasts, with the power to destroy a small country in one blow. 86. At the critical moment, Yagyu Tsuki appears. Yugai. Uzumaki Naruto wanted to give a lecture to wake up Gaara, who was sleeping in pain, but after seeing the tailed beast bomb in Shukaku's mouth, he gradually widened his eyes and looked at Shukaku in a daze. Hey, what kind of move is that? It looks scary. The tailed beast bomb looks very similar to the Rasengan, but it looks several times scarier than the Rasengan. Damn it, it's going to kill us with one blow. Uchiha Sasuke used the 3-tomo Sharingan to stare at the tailed beast bomb in Shukaku's mouth. Even he was frightened by the chakra full of destructive power contained in the tailed beast bomb. This chakra is terrible. The tailed beast bomb used by Shukaku at this time is probably far more powerful than the thunder attribute Rasengan used by Mr. Yagyu at that time. So scary. Haruno Sakura's legs went weak and he fell to the ground, staring blankly at the tailed beast bomb that was gradually forming. If we were hit by such a terrifying tailed beast bomb, our Team 7 would definitely be wiped out, right? What should we do now? Team 7 has no ability to defend, and can't even hurt the tailed beast. In this case, they can either wait for death or turn around and run away with all their strength. But the problem is that they can't escape because of the 4 red yang barrier. So annoying. It's all Mr. Yagyu's fault. How can our Team 7 defeat such a terrifying monster that exceeds the ordinary cage level? Damn it, this is the only way to do it now. Uchiha Sasuke opened the scroll and injected a small amount of chakra into it. Although he wanted to solve Shukaku with his own strength, the gap between himself and Team 7 and Shukaku was too big. If this goes on, Team 7 will definitely die, so they can only summon Mr. Yagyu. Roar. Shukaku spit out the tailed beast bomb in his mouth. The tailed beast bomb, which was full of destructive breath, flew out, leaving canyon-like cracks on the ground wherever it passed. Even the strong wind from the tailed beast bomb was enough to tear the ground apart. Ong. Dark light flashed like a meteor, and Hitaki Kakashi and other Jōnin outside the 4 red sun barrier were shocked by the chakra contained in the tailed beast bomb. The tailed beast bomb used by Shukaku reminded everyone present of the Nine Tails rebellion in the past, when the Nine Tails demon fox also used the same terrible moves. Although the tailed beast bomb used by Nine Tails at that time had a chakra far beyond One Tail Shukaku, no matter how you look at it, the tailed beast bomb used by Shukaku is a natural disaster-like power that exceeds S-level ninjutsu. It's the only way. Hitaki Kakashi didn't think much, raised his forehead protector to reveal the 3-tomo Sharingan, and prepared to use the move that was still under testing. Although he couldn't fully control this move now, it might even consume too much chakra and die. But I promised the teacher that I would protect Uzumaki Naruto. Just as Hitaki Kakashi concentrated his chakra into his left eye, the scroll in front of the 3 members of Team 7 suddenly emitted a large amount of white smoke. Yagyu appeared out of thin air in front of Team 7. Damn kid, have you lost? It's much faster than I'm happy. Yagyu Tsuki sipped the candy in his mouth, looked down at the 3 members of Team 7 lightly, and his eyes paused on Sasuke's 3-tomo Sharingan. Although it was faster than expected, it was still a little reward. Yagyu teacher behind. Haruno Sakura's face was pale, and she trembled and pointed at the tailed beast bomb behind Yagyu Tsuki, which was approaching infinitely and full of destructive power. Naruto 5 points, Sasuke 7 points. Yagyu pinched his chin, glanced at the people in Team 7 thoughtfully, then smiled at Haruno Sakura and said, "You got 0 points this time." Later, Team 7 was not in the mood to care about the score. Even Sasuke was looking at the tailed beast bomb approaching infinitely in fear, but they reminded Yagyu that the words had not yet been finished. "Be quiet, beast." Yagyu did not look back at Shukaku, but slowly raised his palm and dark matter emerged. With the black matter, a huge gravitational vibration barrier appeared. Ong. The tailed beast bomb, full of destructive breath, stopped in front of Yagyu as if it was still. As his hand slowly clenched into a fist, the tailed beast bomb was compressed into a light spot by the huge gravitational force, and finally the tailed beast bomb disappeared directly out of thin air. Yagyu's gravity can pull the moon, so to destroy a mere tailed beast bomb, just raise your hand. Disappeared? The 3 members of Team 7 were stunned, and the hundreds of ninjas outside the barrier were also dumbfounded. Everyone couldn't believe that Yagyu Tsuki could receive the pressure of the tailed beast containing terrible chakra just by raising his hand. This strength is too outrageous. Shukaku's huge body froze, staring at Yagyu Tsuki with an unbelievable expression. After seeing Yagyu Tsuki's light blue eyes, his body like a raccoon trembled slightly. That is the power of 6 paths. Who is this white-haired man? He actually has the power of 6 paths chakra, which is very similar to the sage of 6 paths. Don't talk nonsense, I have time to listen to the beast. Yagyu Tsuki clasped his hands together, and countless python-like vines rose from the ground, and all the vines intertwined to form a giant dragon. The giant dragon flew out and entangled one-tail Shukaku. Wood. Escape. Shukaku was entangled by the wood dragon and fell to the ground with his whole body weak. He lost consciousness in just a moment. Bang. Shukaku turned into white smoke and disappeared, returning to Gaara's state, and the fainted Gaara was entangled by the wood dragon. Yagyu clapped his hands and nodded with satisfaction. Well, perfect. Whether it was the 3 members of Team 7 inside the barrier or the hundreds of ninjas from various villages outside the barrier, everyone had a confused expression at this moment, staring at Yagyu's confident back in a daze. 014301203 Filu 194,492,120. What? What is going on? The tailed beast is very powerful, right? Very strong. The tailed beast bomb is terrible, right? Very terrible. But Yagyu killed him in seconds. After Yagyu appeared, Shukaku died in an instant. This. The strength of Yagyu Tsuki can no longer be described as outrageous. The overwhelming and unreasonable absolute power is just like the power of God. This is Yagyu Tsuki, the ninja crowned as the strongest by the 5 major countries. Orochimaru clasped his hands together in 1.2, maintaining the state of impure world reincarnation, controlling the first generation and second generation to attack Sarutobi Hiruzen. At the same time, he glanced at the 4 red suns barrier in the distance, greedily looked at Yagyu Tsuki's confident back, licked his mouth and said coldly, "Terrible man, the more I want to get you." Suddenly, Evil Earth Senju Hashirama suddenly stopped attacking, and his powerful fist stopped in front of Sarutobi Hiruzen's face. He gradually regained a little consciousness, turned his head to look at Yagyu Tsuki in the barrier in the distance, and then looked at the wooden dragon wrapped around Gaara. The corners of his mouth slightly raised an arc, revealing a seemingly relieved smile. The wood style used by that kid seems to be stronger than mine. The young are formidable. In just a moment, the Edo Hashirama lost consciousness and continued to attack Sarutobi Hiruzen fiercely. Open black lens bracket 87 close black lens bracket. Let me introduce myself. I'm Uchiha Madara. Wow. So awesome. Team 7 looked at the fainted Gaara, and everyone gradually showed a shocked expression. They had just fought Shukaku for a few rounds, so they naturally knew how difficult Shukaku was to shake. But Yagyu teacher just appeared, and instantly killed a monster like Shukaku, and even easily destroyed the tailed beast bomb full of destructive chakra. This strength is simply incredible. Although Yagyu teacher is frivolous and willful, as long as Yagyu teacher is around, no matter what happens, you will feel very safe. Uzumaki Naruto looked at Yagyu Tsuki with admiration, with golden stars in his eyes, and said excitedly, "Yagyu teacher, what was that move just now? It's so cool." Just now, Yagyu teacher seemed to use an invisible force that could not be seen by the naked eye, and easily destroyed the terrible tailed beast bomb. What did Mr. Yagyu use just now? Anyway, it's very cool. I want to learn it. Yagyu Tsuki slightly raised his chin and deliberately said with a proud attitude, "Right, how many points do you give for saving the situation this time?" Uzumaki Naruto gave a thumbs up and smiled brightly, "Full marks." Yagyu Tsuki nodded with satisfaction and said jokingly, "Full marks? Very good, then I will wait for the moment of crisis after 03. It seems to be quite good to save the situation at the right time. Think about it. No matter what the first person to appear is, it doesn't make much sense. On the contrary, the person who appears at the critical moment is the hero. Only the person who appears at the most desperate and critical moment can leave the deepest impression in people's hearts. In other words, it is more pretentious to appear last." Haruno Sakura lost his fear of Shukaku after Yagyu Tsuki appeared, and gradually returned to his usual state, but after hearing Yagyu Tsuki's declaration of the last appearance, a sense of crisis gradually emerged in his heart. "Naruto, don't talk too much in the future. What if you cause us to be in danger all the time in the future?" Haruno Sakura turned around and punched Naruto. The powerful force directly knocked Naruto away. After rolling on the ground for several circles, Naruto lay on the ground with his 4 legs up in the air and a confused face. Haruno Sakura touched his nose and snorted coldly, "If you talk too much, be careful that I will beat you up." With Yagyu teacher's willful and playful personality, it is likely that he will deliberately create danger for Team 7 in the future, and then watch the show secretly and watch Team 7 fall into despair, waiting for the most desperate moment to come out and pretend to be cool. To be honest, it is really possible. After all, that is Yagyu teacher. Sakura-chan, you have already beaten. Naruto Uzumaki climbed up, holding his abdomen, and looked pitifully at the aggressive Haruno Sakura. Why does it feel more painful for Sakura-chan to hit people than before? Is it because of the strange power training? It's better not to make Sakura-chan angry in the future. Uchiha Sasuke put his hands in his pockets, looked at Yagyu Tsuki's face coldly, and said, "Yagyu-sensei, was that pupil power just now?" The moment Yagyu-sensei attacked just now, it seemed that he exuded a strong pupil power, which had a very similar feeling to Sharingan, but the chakra aura was completely different. Moreover, Yagyu-sensei's eyes did change just now, from black to light blue pupils. Does Yagyu-sensei also have a blood limit of pupil power? Yagyu Tsuki deliberately smiled mysteriously. "You can say that, do you want to learn?" I want to learn, please teach me that powerful move." Uzumaki Naruto's eyes lit up, and he hurried to Yagyu Tsuki and pushed Sasuke away, then looked at Yagyu Tsuki with expectation. How could Sasuke beat me? I should learn first. Uchiha Sasuke frowned slightly and glared at Uzumaki Naruto coldly. With your ability, you are not qualified to master the eye power, super idiot. Eye power is the power of blood limit, and a mere idiot still wants to use the eye power? Ridiculous. Yagyu Tsuki asked, do you really want to learn? I really want to. Uzumaki Naruto nodded firmly. Uchiha Sasuke did not speak, but stared at Yagyu Tsuki seriously, thinking secretly in his heart. Was that the power of Yagyu Sensei's bloodline limit just now? Can we really learn it? If we can really learn that power, we will be one step closer to revenge. I always feel like I'm being fooled, Haruno Sakura muttered. Really, I really want to, but it's impossible. With your abilities, it's impossible. Lu Shungyue waved his hand and said disdainfully. After that, he pointed at his eyes with his finger. His black pupils gradually turned light blue. He continued, if you want to use the power just now, you must at least have eyes similar to mine. Everyone in Class 7 was speechless. Since Class 7 couldn't learn, why did Teacher Lu Sheng ask this specifically? Was he deliberately showing off his eyes? The corners of Naruto's mouth twitched slightly. He took a big step back and pointed at Lu Shungyue, shouting angrily, "A-hole, you are just kidding us. If you can't learn, why do you ask us? I was so looking forward to it just now." Lu Shungyue took out a lollipop, unwrapped it, put it in his mouth, and sipped it lightly, saying lightly, "Don't say that. One day you will have similar powers." Suddenly, the space behind Gaara fluctuated, and the space gradually twisted into a spiral. A masked man appeared with the twisted space and picked up Gaara, who was in a coma. He is Uchiha Obito. Who is it? The faces of the three members of Team 7 changed slightly. The people outside the barrier stared at Uchiha Obito in confusion. Everyone in the audience was wondering who this masked man who suddenly appeared was. And the masked man used time and space, right? It's a very convenient ability to hide from my perception. Yagyu Tsuki turned around and looked at Uchiha Obito in the distance. Even before Obito appeared, he didn't sense Obito 273's chakra. But it's normal. Because Obito was in a different space just now, no matter how strong his perception was, he couldn't sense the chakra in a different space. Yagyu Tsuki, I wanted to see you a long time ago. Uchiha Obito carried Gaara on his shoulders, and with only one Sharingan exposed by the mask, he stared at Yagyu Tsuki in the distance calmly. His purpose this time was to take one tail away in the chaos, and he also wanted to meet the rumored Yagyu Tsuki once, to see if Yagyu Tsuki had the ability to disrupt his plan. Yagyu Tsuki raised the corners of his mouth slightly, deliberately put on a disgusted expression, and said, "You have to wait in line to confess to me, but there is no chance with a stinky man." Uchiha Obito actually showed up. Shao really likes to give them away one by one. Sharingan. Uchiha Sasuke was slightly startled when he saw Obito's Sharingan. His face gradually darkened and he asked excitedly, "Who are you? Why do you have Uchiha's Sharingan?" The Uchiha clan has been exterminated. Currently, the only known surviving members of the Uchiha clan are himself and Uchiha Itachi. Could it be that this mysterious masked man has a transplanted Sharingan like Kakashi? A dangerous light flashed in Uchiha Obito's eyes. He glanced at the crowd indifferently. His sight paused for a moment on Kakashi outside the barrier, then he looked at Yagyu Tsuki indifferently again, and said proudly and lowly, "Yes, let me introduce myself. My name is Uchiha Madara. You should have heard of my name to some extent, right? 88. Obito is confused. Are Yagyu Tsuki and Madara in collusion? Uchiha Madara. The expressions of all the people present gradually became solemn, staring at the masked man who called himself Madara. Some people in the audience were full of doubts, some looked unbelievable, and some even looked at the mysterious masked man in a daze. A few people present had heard of the name of Uchiha Madara. He was a legendary Chunin who was as famous as the first Hokage, and was a top powerhouse who almost destroyed the 5 major countries. Yes, it was the legendary ninja. In the history of the ninja world for several years, there were only 3 ninjas who could be called legends. One was the legendary first Hokage Senju Hashirama, and the other was the current living legend Yagyu Tsuki. And the last ninja was Uchiha Madara, the strongest ninja in the Uchiha clan. Uchiha Madara. Yagyu Tsuki sipped the lollipop in his mouth and looked at Uchiha Obito curiously, his eyes pausing for a moment on Obito's Sharingan. As an excellent time traveler, he naturally knew the true identity of the masked man. He was Obito, who was sickly catching tailed beasts all over the world and wanted to launch infinite Tsukuyomi to see Lin. Identity doesn't matter, the problem is Kamui is very troublesome. It can be said that Kamui is the strongest time and space ability in the current ninja world, and it is also the most capable of escaping and surviving. As long as Uchiha Obito is serious about escaping, no one in the ninja world can stop Obito. Even if Yagyu Tsuki can use time and space teleportation, he can't control Kamui's space law. Of course, since he is a human, he must have weaknesses. Using Kakashi's eyes, you can enter Kamui's space, but the problem is that Kakashi's dead fish eyes seem to be unable to use Kamui properly at present. Who is Uchiha Madara? Is he from the Uchiha clan? Everyone in Team 7 looked at the masked man with confusion, and after a moment, Haruno Sakura and Naruto looked at Sasuke at the same time. Since he is a man named Uchiha, Then Sasuke should know the masked man, right? Uchiha Sasuke used the 3-tomo Sharingan to stare at Uchiha Obito and said coldly, "The Uchiha clan has been exterminated. The only Uchiha ninjas left are him and me. I have never heard of Uchiha Madara." He has never heard of Uchiha Madara since he was a child, and the Uchiha clan has been exterminated. The family tree in the village also states that the only remaining Uchiha clan members are him and Uchiha Itachi. How could there be a third person? Could it be the Uchiha who escaped the night of genocide? Outside the barrier, Tsunade looked at Uchiha Obito coldly and said in a cold and strong voice, "You just pretend to be a Sharingan and call yourself Uchiha Madara. It's ridiculous. Uchiha Madara died a long time ago. Who are you, this pretentious man?" She had seen Uchiha Madara and her death. At that time, her great-grandfather helped Madara hold a funeral. How could a dead person from decades ago stand here in good health? And, judging from the mysterious masked man who calls himself Madara's dress, he should be the same organization as Konan and others who appeared some time ago, right? Uchiha Obito turned his head to look at Tsunade in the distance, his scarlet Sharingan narrowed slightly, a dangerous light flashed in his eyes, and he said in a low and hoarse voice, "You were right, I died a long time ago, and now I am just an empty shell. In other words, I can't use the power I had when I was alive, so I need the tailed beast to restore my missing power. Yes, I am dead, and only an empty shell is left." Lin. Nonsense. Tsunade frowned slowly, thinking secretly in his heart. Could it be? Uchiha Madara is still alive, and the mysterious masked man in front of him is the Uchiha Madara who died in the past. How is it possible? But the chakra of this masked man is very dangerous, very similar to the Uchiha Madara of the past. Could it be that he is really Uchiha Madara? Tsunade bit her lips lightly, and a feeling of annoyance surged in her heart. Damn it. What happened to this broken village? On the other side, Sarutobi Hiruzen was in danger. He was forced out of the Shiki seal by Orochimaru and planned to use this trick to die with Orochimaru. On this side, Shukaku was just stopped by Yagyu Tsuki, and suddenly a mysterious masked man who called himself Uchiha Madara appeared. This broken village was full of bad things. Speechless. Yagyu Tsuki said speechlessly, "Are you guys in Akatsuki a role-playing club? Nagato likes to play God, Konan likes to play an angel, and you, a loser, actually like to play Madara. Akatsuki is really good at playing, and his mind is full of role-playing all day long. But don't tell me. When Konan plays the role of a high and mighty angel, it can indeed arouse men's desire to conquer. No one should hate the pleasure of pressing a cold and holy woman to the ground and giving her all." Uchiha Obito said in a deep voice, "What do you want to say? Yagyu Tsuki is such a strange person, I can't see through this man at all." Yagyu Tsuki said lightly, "Didn't you understand? It means, you are Uchiha Obito. Still want to pretend in front of me? I'll point it out to you directly." Obito. Uchiha Obito. Everyone in the audience trembled, and Might Guy and others subconsciously looked at Hitaki Kakashi. You actually know. Even Uchiha Obito was slightly startled. He never thought that Yagyu Tsuki would know who his real identity was. In everyone's subjective memory, Uchiha Obito is a dead ghost, but why does Yagyu Tsuki know my true identity? I know more than you think. Yagyu Tsuki raised the corners of his mouth slightly, showing a mocking smile, and said, "Such as Project Tsuki no Mi." Uchiha Obito's body trembled slightly, and a strong eye power burst out. A trace of cold murderous intent flashed in his eyes, and he said in a deep voice, "You know too much. Why does Yagyu know Project Tsuki no Mi? There are only 4 people in the whole ninja world who know Project Tsuki no Mi. One is the dead Uchiha Madara, one is the consciousness Black Zetsu born when Madara opened the Rinnegan, and the other is White Zetsu cultivated with first-generation cells. The last person is himself. Even Uzumaki Nagato and other people in the Akatsuki organization have never known the secret of Project Tsuki no Mi. But why does Yagyu know Project Tsuki no Mi? This man. What's the matter?" Yagyu teased, backquote, "Maybe I can read your mind. Let me read what you were thinking. Obviously, there are very few people who know Project Tsuki no Mi, only the dead Uchiha Madara, Black Zetsu, White Zetsu, and me Obito, but why did Yagyu Tsuki know this plan? Really? You actually know Black Zetsu and White Zetsu, what an unexpected man." Uchiha Obito frowned slightly inside his mask. He had never thought that Yagyu Tsuki would know so many things, and even knew the existence of Black Zetsu and White Zetsu. What's going on? Could Yagyu Tsuki really read minds? How is it possible? Haruno Sakura panicked, tugged at the corner of Yagyu Tsuki's clothes, and asked carefully, Can Yagyu teacher read minds? If Yagyu teacher can read minds, then wouldn't Yagyu teacher hear all the thoughts in his heart? So embarrassing. Just kidding, how can there be such a convenient ability to read minds? Yagyu Tsuki waved his hand, looked at Uchiha Obito in the distance, and said with a faint chuckle, "The reason why I know the secret of the moon eye is maybe someone has colluded with me." "You idiot, you still want to show off to me? I'll fool you to death." Collusion. Uchiha Obito, promised, had an ugly expression behind his mask. He couldn't understand why Yagyu Tsuki knew the unique secret. Black Zetsu and White Zetsu were the consciousness of Uchiha Madara. After Uchiha Madara's death, Black Zetsu and White Zetsu would always guard the secret of the Eye of the Moon. That is to say, Project Tsuki no Mi is the only secret in the world, so how could Yagyu Tsuki know Project Tsuki no Mi? But if someone colluded with Yagyu Tsuki, then everything would make sense. Could it be that Uchiha Madara and Yagyu Tsuki had some plan between the two? To be honest, even Uchiha Obito is confused now. Hitaki Kakashi stared at Obito with dead fish eyes, and after hesitating for a moment, he asked hesitantly, "Are you Uchiha Obito?" "Don't call me by that name. I am nobody, and I don't want to be anyone. In this world full of despair, what is the value of living?" Uchiha Obito gave up thinking about Yagyu Tsuki, because no matter how hard he thought, it made no sense. The only thing he could be sure of now was that Madara had planned something with Yagyu Tsuki before he died. Let's go back and ask Black White Zetsu. 89. I catch the tailed beasts and you catch the Jinchuriki. Is that a problem? Are you really Obito? But Obito is dead. Hitaki Kakashi covered his slightly painful left eye and stared at Uchiha Obito in the distance. He was usually lazy and decadent, and rarely showed such panic behavior, but he felt that the mysterious masked man in the distance was very similar to Uchiha Obito, who had died a long time ago. And listening to the masked man's answer, it seemed to confirm his identity. Obito was his most important friend and a memory that had trapped him for a long time. You are right, Uchiha Obito is dead. Uchiha Obito used the three-tomo Sharingan, looked at Kakashi indifferently in the distance, and said in a proud tone, "It doesn't matter who I am, it doesn't matter who I am. If you insist, just call me Uchiha Madara, yes. Uchiha Obito is dead. Rin Hara is dead, Obito is dead too. I am just an empty shell, an empty spirit with nothing. The world is now full of despair, and there is no meaning in living. Let me use the power of the tailed beasts to create a brand new world. In that world there is Rin, everything I once had, and hope called dreams. Just make good use of your Sharingan and recognize this desperate reality." Uchiha Obito stared at Kakashi indifferently, the scarlet three-tomo Sharingan, and instantly recalled the past experiences in his mind. A world without Rin is cruel, a world without Rin is hopeless, and a world where Rin can live is valuable. Rin. No matter how much pain I go through, I will capture all the tailed beasts and create a world with you. No one in the audience spoke, and everyone stared at Uchiha Obito, because many people have not yet sorted out the matter. What is Project Tsuki no Mi? Why does Obito call himself Madara? What does Yagyu Tsuki know? Everyone present was confused. Today I just say hello to you. One-tailed Jinchuriki will belong to me. We will meet another day. Uchiha Obito carried the unconscious Gaara and looked at the calm Yagyu Tsukishiro indifferently and proudly. As soon as the voice fell, the space around Uchiha Obito was distorted, and he gradually disappeared with the distorted space. He wanted to take one-tailed Shukaku away in the chaos today, and then say hello to Yagyu Tsukishiro. Since the goal has been achieved, there is no need to stay here any longer. Going to war with Yagyu Tsukishiro now will affect the subsequent plans. We must wait patiently for Uzumaki Nagado's pupil power to recover. When Nagato recovers his pupil power, it will be Yagyu Tsukishiro's death anniversary. Yagyu Tsukishiro looked at Uchiha Obito indifferently. Obito had no intention of stopping the capture of Gaara's escape, but said very generously, "Since you want it, I'll give it to you." Seeing that Yagyu Tsunade didn't move, Tsunade frowned and shouted coldly, "Damn white hair, the tailed beast is a very important force. If it is captured by Akatsuki, things will become very troublesome. What the hell is the white hair doing?" He actually watched the enemy capture the tailed beast. Even Uchiha Obito's character was slightly stunned by Yagyu Tsukune's attitude. He used Sharingan to look at the unconscious Gaara, and three-tomo Sharingan condensed. His consciousness sneaked into Gaara's sealed space. Then, he saw nothing. Shukaku was gone. Such a big one-tailed Shukaku. The will was completely gone. Now Gaara is just an empty shell. Uchiha Obito threw Gaara to the ground, looked at Yagyu Tsukune with cold murderous eyes, and said in a deep voice, "When did you capture the tailed beast?" He had been watching the battle all the time and didn't notice that Yagyu Tsukune took away one-tailed Shukaku. Yagyu Tsuki chuckled lightly and said, "Don't be so willful, you said you wanted Jinchuriki, right? Since you want it, I'll kindly give it to you. I'll catch the tailed beast and you catch the Jinchuriki. It's a perfect win-win situation." He just used the power of the Tensigan to cut off the seal between Shukaku and Gaara, and then forced Shukaku to sign the summoning contract. That is to say, now one-tailed Shukaku is his summoning beast. Everyone looked at Yagyu Tsuki in confusion. Does that mean that the one-tailed Shukaku in Gaara's body has been taken away by Yagyu Tsuki? All the Sand Shinobi village looked ugly. After losing one-tailed Shukaku, Gaara would definitely die. After losing the tailed beast, with the weak military strength of Sand Shinobi village, they might be squeezed out of the ranks of the 5 major ninja villages. It's okay for Gaara to die, but the problem is that Shukaku is lost, and Shukaku is still in Yagyu Tsuki's hands. It's almost impossible to get the tailed beast back from Yagyu Tsuki. You can actually offset my pupil power. You really have a pair of strange and good eyes. Uchiha took the lead with an ugly face, and a feeling of anger surged in his heart. He stared at Yagyu Tsuki's light blue Tensigen in the distance. He narrowed his eyes slightly, and a trace of dangerous light flashed in his eyes. I tried to awaken Shukaku by using my eye power, but it was counteracted by Yagyu Tsuki's strange eye power. And Yagyu Tsuki's strange eyes could force One-Tail Shukaku to sign a summoning contract without my noticing. Now One-Tail Shukaku should be in Yagyu Tsuki's summoning space, right? What are Yagyu Tsuki's eyes? It seems to have a similar aura to Sharingan, but the chakra feels more like a white eye. It's really a pair of strange and dangerous eyes. To be honest, I never expected that Yagyu Tsuki actually had the trump card of eyes. For the time being, I can only give up one tail. By the way, because Gaara fell into the hands of your enemy, I had to bear the grief to pull out Gaara's tailed beast. Yagyu Tsuki took out a lollipop from his mouth and pointed at Uchiha Daiso in the distance. If you hadn't appeared, how could Gaara die? You are the enemy who wants to catch the tailed beast, and I am the hero who takes back the tailed beast. You take the blame. That's right. The Akatsuki organization takes the blame, and Uchiha Obito takes the blame. Although we can deal with you now, it will inevitably affect the subsequent plans. I will leave one tail with you for now. Uchiha Obito's whole body is hollow, and he gradually disappears with the distorted space. I will remember you, Yagyu Tsuki. Damn Yagyu Tsuki. Seeing that Project Tsuki no Mi is making progress, Infinite Tsukuyomi will soon be launched to create a world with Lin. But damn Yagyu Tsuki, he actually took the tailed beast away in one step. And why did Yagyu Tsuki know the plan between Madara and I? Go back and ask the giant black-white Zetsu. Maybe Yagyu Tsuki and Uchiha Madara have some plan. After all, Uchiha Madara is a very dangerous man. He didn't completely trust Madara and believed in 30% and guarded against 70%. Lin. Just wait patiently. No matter how strong the enemy is, no matter how bumpy the road ahead is, I will work hard to complete this plan and create a world with you. You are a villain, but you are also the leader behind Akatsuki, so don't leave so cowardly, show some manliness and compete with me. Yagyu Tsuki said speechlessly. No matter how you hinder me, it's meaningless. I will definitely create a new world. Uchiha Obito looked at Yagyu Tsuki deeply, and then disappeared completely with the distorted space. Yagyu Tsuki's power is very strange, but it still can't compete with Rinnegan. When Uzumaki Nagato recovers his pupil power, he will be able to easily solve Yagyu Tsuki's obstacles. At present, we also need to find a way to revive Uchiha Madara in advance. With Uchiha Madara's power, it should be enough to suppress the ninja world. After all, there is no strong man like Senju Hashirama in the current ninja world. Yagyu Tsuki is very strong, but how can he defeat Uchiha Madara? He may even lose to Uzumaki Nagato. So there is no need to rush. Run fast. Yagyu Tsuki pouted. Open black lens bracket 90 close black lens bracket. The Akatsuki organization works hard to capture the tailed beasts. No matter how serious the obstacles are, they can move forward towards their dreams firmly. Yagyu Tsuki stroked his chin and sipped the lollipop in his mouth. He muttered to himself, when I think about it this way, why'd I look like a villain? Uchiha Obito was trying to catch the tailed beast, while I just snatched it away casually. My behavior made me look like a villain. I was the villain? It's funny. Since Obito retreated, we can only test the Tensigen ability later. Anyway, Uchiha and Kisame will appear in a while. Yagyu Tsuki glanced at Gaara who was fainting and dying in the distance. Then what should One Tail do? If I hadn't drawn out the tailed beast just now, Gaara would have been abducted by Obito. Instead, because I drew out Gaara's tailed beast, it was a blessing in disguise that Gaara had a complete body. Sand Shinobi Village will thank me, just talking. Anyway, I gladly accepted the tailed beast, and I can keep it as a pet for fun. After seeing Uchiha Obito retreat, everyone present breathed a sigh of relief. They were all shocked by Obito's chakra just now, and some people recognized him as the masked man in the Nine Tails Rebellion, the culprit who killed the fourth-generation couple. Everyone present looked at Yagyu Tsuki deeply. They could see that the reason why Obito retreated was entirely because of the presence of Yagyu Tsuki, the strongest. If Yagyu Tsuki had not appeared, how could Obito retreat so easily? Yagyu Tsuki, the strongest ninja of the 5 major countries. Just standing there, he could force back such a powerful enemy. Is this the value of being called the strongest by the 5 major countries? It really deserves to be Yagyu Tsuki. Obito. He is actually Obito. Hitaki Kakashi covered his left eye which was in great pain, and looked at the direction where Obito disappeared with mixed feelings. Obito is still alive. But why did Obito want to catch the tailed beast? Use the tailed beast to create a new world? Is it because of Lin? You seem to be fine with me, but the old dog of the 3rd generation doesn't seem to be so easy. Yagyu Tsuki glanced at the distance calmly, looking at the barrier covered by black smoke. Through the penetrating and perspective ability of Tensigen, he could clearly see the phantom called Shinigami. The 3rd generation old dog has sealed the 1st generation and the 2nd generation, and is currently in a stalemate with Orochimaru, but no matter what, the 3rd generation old dog will definitely die. The third-generation-old dog is a bit like a Hokage in the end. But with the current chakra of the third-generation-old dog, it is impossible to seal Orochimaru. At most, it can only seal the souls of both hands. Hokage-sama. Everyone in the audience was shocked. They were confused by Uchiha Obito's self-introduction. They almost forgot that the third Hokage-sama is in danger. Kakashi, let's go to the Hokage-sama first. Might Guy patted Kakashi's shoulder, sighed secretly in his heart, wanted to comfort Kakashi, but in the end he couldn't say anything. It's a very happy thing that the once important friend is still alive, but it's a nightmare that the former friend has become the enemy now. Uchiha Sasuke grabbed the corner of Yagyu Tsukishiro's clothes, frowned and asked hurriedly, Teacher Yagyu, who was that person just now? Who is Uchiha Obito? As a member of the Uchiha clan, I have never heard of Uchiha Obito's name, but Uchiha Obito Sharingan's pupil power is terrible, and it seems to have a very similar aura to Itachi. Yagyu Tsukishiro untied the barrier and responded in a casual tone, how should I put it? If Itachi is a big beast, Obito is a small beast. On the day when your Uchiha clan was exterminated, Obito was very happy to chop. On the night of the Uchiha genocide, Obito and Itachi were slashing Uchiha together. The genocide was not just Uchiha Itachi, but also the shadow of Uchiha Obito, Shimura Danzo, Sarutobi Hiruzen and others. Did he participate in the genocide? Uchiha Sasuke's pupils shrank, and a feeling of anger surged in his heart, and a trace of cold murderous intent flashed in his eyes. In other words, there are many targets for revenge? Damn it. I must gain stronger power and master the Yang attribute nature transformation as soon as possible. Yagyu Tsuki touched Sasuke's head and encouraged him with a faint chuckle, work hard, brat. Very good. That's the mentality. The angrier the Uchiha brat is, the faster it will become stronger. When the Uchiha brat becomes stronger, he can also gain more benefits. Perfect. Teacher Yagyu, third generation grandpa. Uzumaki Naruto looked worried, looking at the barrier covered by black fog in the distance. 0. Please give me flowers. 0 Yagyu glanced at Uzumaki Naruto and said, barriers are rules, and few people can break them. Although he can easily break the barrier, there is no need to help Sarutobi Hiruzen. I just watch the show honestly and be a happy person. Tsunade jumped and landed beside Yagyu. He looked at the barrier covered by black smoke in the distance and asked in a deep voice, damn white hair, what should we do now? You actually have to ask me about this little thing. Are you so obedient to me? Yagyu looked at Tsunade strangely. Tsunade glared at Lu Shungyue and said unhappily, you said you would help me make a decision. 0 Hearing this, even Lu Shungyue was slightly startled. After a moment, the corner of her mouth slowly raised an arc, and she touched her chin and looked at Tsunade's beautiful face. You are miserable. What do you mean? Tsunade was puzzled. Lu Shungyue said, you are in love. Tsunade has a strong personality, but even with such a strong and opinionated personality, she actually asked for my advice, which means that she cares about me now. Although the idea is very narcissistic, but the fact is so. Stop being narcissistic, idiot. Tsunade's beautiful face blushed slightly, and she recovered in just a moment, raising her little face and looking at Lu Shungyue with contempt. She was just wondering what the dead white hair was going to say, but she didn't expect that he would say such a sentence. Love? Bullshit. Asking for the opinion of the dead white hair, is it because you care about the dead white hair? Nonsense. I just want to ask what's wrong, hee. Kato Shizune covered her mouth and laughed. Tsunade-sama is very stubborn. Yagyu was right. Tsunade-sama is now a girl in love, but Yagyu knew Tsunade's thoughts, but still did not take the initiative to propose reconciliation. Is she waiting for Tsunade-sama to speak? Alas. Tsunade-sama's mouth was hooked. Anyway. You guys can do whatever you want. I want to watch the show up close. Yagyu waved his hand and used the instant body to disappear directly out of thin air. He wanted to go to the barrier to watch the show up close. After all, the Shiki seal is a very rare move. Although many people can use it, few people use the 9.